It's Sunday night with Old Time Radio. Thank you for joining us this evening. We begin with a new serial, The Planet Man, followed by the second episode of Sonny and Buddy, the Burns and Allen Show. We return to the Jack Benny program, and then we have a new program called Gangbusters, a quiz show from the BBC, My Word. We close the program tonight with the CBS Mystery Theater, a program called The Old Ones Are Hard to Kill. Let's get started.
The Planet Man. The Planet Man. This is the fascinating story of Dantro, the Planet Man, troubleshooter for the League of Planets organization, the law enforcement body for peace and justice in the celestial world, whose headquarters and center of operations are situated on the capital of all the planets, Planaria Rex. From Mercury to Pluto, wherever danger threatens the universe, you will find Dantro, the Planet Man, fighting for fair play. When we left the crew of Earth's first rocket expedition, they were heading for a crash on the moon. We find Dr. Darrow, his daughter Pat, Slats, the engineer, and our two young stowaways, Billy and Jane, discussing their dangerous predicament. The sound of the complicated control mechanism makes the cabin seem like a chatterbox of confusion. And from the outside can be heard the mad whining of the lunar currents. We find them now as they're getting closer and closer to the moon's surface. Slats is speaking.
Our altimeter reading is dropping pretty fast, Professor.
Isn't there any way we can break our fall on the moon?
I've thought of everything, Pat, but there just doesn't seem to be any answer. The extra power we lost on takeoff was our only hope.
Father, I know you don't like to do things second best, but in a situation like this, it might be necessary.
What do you mean, Pat?
Well, what about using our remaining power to go into an orbit around the moon, as we discussed in our original plan?
Yes, but what good will that do? We still come to the same end, except that the agony will be prolonged.
Let's do it, Professor. We got nothing to lose.
Whatever it is, I'm game, Uncle John.
Me too, Uncle John.
You know what they say, Professor, where there's life, there's hope.
It'll be a ticklish maneuver now since we've gotten into the pull of the moon, and our power is limited. But if the rest of you are game, so am I. Stand by to maneuver. Pat, start the reactor.
Yes, Father.
Slats, check the radar rangefinder and make sure you pinpoint those readings on the moon.
Yes, sir.
I'll pilot. Now keep your fingers crossed. Heading 10 degrees starboard.
Heading 10 degrees starboard.
Cut the reactor, Pat.
Cutting reactor.
What's our reading?
It's 63.3. We need a bit more, Professor.
Hit it again, Pat.
Reactor on.
Are we picking it up fast enough, Slats? What's the reading?
Not enough, Professor. We need a fraction more.
Are you sure, Slats? I've got our heading way over, and our power can't last much longer with such a radical course heading. Slats, give me a reading. Slats, do you hear me? Give me a reading.
It's 89.4. 6 more points, Professor.
That's the end of our power. I hope we make it.
Steady, steady. Just a bit more, old Ironsides. There. Well, we made it. We made it, Professor.
Good,
right
that's
on the
fine.
beam.
I'm so glad. Very glad.
Hey, what are we all so happy about? We're right in the middle of nowhere.
You mean that we're not going to land on the moon after all?
I'm afraid not, Billy.
What's going to happen?
Nothing, Jane. We're just going to circle the moon the way the moon circles the Earth.
Just look at that view of the moon. What a break. So near and yet so far.
Uncle John, something is happening to the air. It's getting stuffy in here.
I know, Billy. It's the air circulator slowing down. Breathing will be just a bit difficult from now on since our oxygen supply is limited.
Professor, can you hear me?
Slats, where are you? What are you up to?
I'm outside the ship bringing up the lunar communications generator. Thought we might as well set it up and try to make contact with the Earth.
You can't do that alone.
I'm here, too.
Careful, Pat. Don't let go now. Pat! Slats, grab her. She's floating away.
What?
Quick, Slats.
Slats, help me. Help me.
Pat, here, grab my hand. Quick now, come on. Hold tight now. Easy.
pulled her back, Uncle John.
Pat, Slats, is everything all right?
Yes, Father, thanks to Slats. I thought I was a goner.
Don't forget you're out in space, Pat, and if you ever drifted away, we'd never be able to get you back.
It's all okay now, Professor. We're coming in.
Yes, Billy?
Jane and I know what's going on.
What are you talking about?
Pat, we know this whole trip was spoiled because we stowed aboard. It's all our fault.
Now listen to me, you two, and stop feeling guilty. It wasn't the best idea for you to sneak aboard, but it did happen. And besides, we could have been wrong in our calculations. The important thing now is for all of us to face up to whatever lies ahead. And I know that you two won't let me down.
Never, Pat.
Not us, Pat. All right, now let's just forget the whole thing. I wonder where Slats and Father are.
Well, it looks like the first trip from Earth to the moon is coming to its tragic end. The good ship Constitution is in a hopeless orbit about the moon. The entire crew is slowly suffocating because the oxygen supply is coming to an end. Professor Darrow and Slats are in the posterior cargo chamber. Slats is apparently up to something.
Why don't you go to the control cabin, Professor, and lie down for a while? It'll be easier for you to breathe.
I think I'd better stay here. I hate to have Pat and the kids see me so worried and worn out. Slats, you've got something on your mind. What is it?
Well, I've been thinking, Professor. I really haven't got anybody. Nobody'd miss me, and you and Pat and the kids would have a little extra time.
Now, what are you driving at?
Well, a big guy like me uses a lot of oxygen. All I have to do is to step through that port, and it'll be all over in a second. You people will have a little longer.
Don't be a fool, Slats. We're all in this together. Besides, if anybody goes through the port, it will be me. I'm the oldest. And besides, the whole thing is my responsibility.
Now, look, Professor, I've made up my mind. There's no point in trying to stop me.
No, Slats, don't jump.
Don't stop me, Professor. I'll hit you. I didn't mean to hurt you, Professor, but this is the way it's got to be. So long, Professor. What's that?
What's going on in there? What's that clanging?
We're not clanging anything. I thought it was you.
Slats! Father, look out of the port! Quick!
Boy, look at that.
It's mammoth!
Professor, get up. Something's happened.
What?
There's something next to our ship.
Huh? Oh, my head. Ship. Here, help me. Let me see the... What? It's impossible. But it looks like another ship is next to ours.
Let me help you, Professor. We must get to the control cabin with the others.
Father, Slats, what is it?
I don't know, but now we'd better stay close together. Slats, where are you going?
Just to get this fishing wrench. I don't know what's coming through that hatch, but I'm not taking any chance.
Well, be careful and don't get too close to the hatch.
Let's all be very quiet.
Oh, Uncle John, look.
Stand back, whatever you are. I'll...
Look at Slats. He can't move. He's frozen in his tracks.
Oh, Slats! Why, it's a man.
What did you expect? A three-headed Mercurian man-eater? I am a man from the planets.
A planet man. Boy, wait till the gang hears about this.
Billy, please.
My name is Dantro, the Planet Man, and I come in peace. I represent the League of Planets, and my mission is to bring all of you to Planaria Rex.
Planaria Rex? League of Planets?
Where is that?
I'll explain in a moment. But I don't think we should leave your brave friend Slats in this paralyzed predicament. He'll snap right out of it with a shot of this ray gun neutralizer.
What happened? Did I get him?
It's all right, Slats. We're all safe. It seems that we've met a friend, and his name is Dantro, the Planet Man.
It's nice to meet a brave man like you, Slats. Here, let me help you up.
Dantro, my name is John Darrow. This is my daughter and assistant, Pat.
How do you do?
And I think you've already met Slats.
Yeah.
And these two are Jane and Billy, my niece and nephew.
Well,
It's a pleasure to know you all. You see, we've really known you for a long time, since we've been able to watch your experiments. In fact, we've been in touch with this entire trip of yours. We've even learned to speak your language.
But how could you do all that?
We planet men have many devices which Earth has not yet discovered, and one of them is the cosmic communicator, which enables us to see and hear across the millions of miles of space.
But why have you kept the existence of the League of Planets from the Earth?
Where is Planaria Rex, and why haven't I been able to chart its position?
Everything will be explained to you in due time.
What's that noise?
It's coming from my ship. We must hurry along. It's the bogey warning oscillator telling us there are some unidentified ships approaching.
But we can't leave the Constitution.
Not old Ironside.
Your ship will be safe in this orbit for 1,000 years. We must not waste time.
Will I get a spacesuit like yours?
Will you let me fly the ship?
I see Earth children are no different from ours. There's our last warning. Quick, through the hatch into my ship, the Planeteer.
What adventures lie ahead for the Earth people? What will they find on Planaria Rex? Whose ships are those approaching the helpless Constitution? Tune in again for more transcribed thrills and adventures. Find out what happens to the Earth people as they speed toward a new world on Planaria Rex. Rocket millions of light years into space with Dan Tro, the Planet Man.
Tonight we bring you Chapter 2 in the adventures of Sonny and Buddy. In the first episode, our little adventurers stopped on their way home to watch a vaudeville show which was being given from an automobile truck. The owner of the show invited the boys to sing a song. Sonny and Buddy thought it would be all right. Besides, the medicine show man offered them a bag of candy if they would sing. But when the songs were ended, the boys were trapped in the house car, the door was shut and locked, the motor started, and Sonny and Buddy had been kidnapped. Tonight we find the boys riding in the house car with Betty, while Doc is up on the driver's seat with Charcoal, the colored truck driver. Here they are.
How much further, Charcoal? It won't be long now, Mr. Doc. There's a sign over there. What do it say?
Well, pull over to the side of the road and throw your spotlight on the sign so I can read it. 5 miles to Laredo, Texas.
Well, Mr. Doc, when we get to the Mexican border, you sure better keep little Sonny and Buddy on the cover, because them customs officers are going to ask a heap of questions, and somebody's liable to recognize them boys.
You're right, Charcoal. And I'll go inside the house car right now and fix Sonny and Buddy so that no one will recognize them, not even their own mother. Well, Sonny, Buddy, come here a minute.
Hey, where are you taking us, mister?
To Mexico, boys. Mexico, we're headed for a new country. Now, you see, it's just as I told you. No one has hurt you, and there's absolutely nothing for you to be afraid of.
But you had no right to take us away without our mother knowing about it. Please take us back home, mister. Our mother will be terribly worried about us.
Now, don't you boys worry about your mother. I'll write her a letter today and tell her where you are and all about you.
Will you write her today, mister? Will you, honest?
Oh, please do, mister, so she won't worry so much.
Sure, I'll write her. And all you have to do is just travel around the country and sing for the natives while I sell my medicine. We'll get along great as long as you boys behave yourselves. But I don't ever want to see or hear of you talking to anyone except Betty, Charcoal, and me. Remember that now. Oh, Sonny.
Yes, sir?
Can you talk like a little colored boy?
Oh, gee, I don't know. I never tried. Why?
Well, suppose you try now. Talk like Charcoal.
You mean like this? Y'all want me to talk like Charcoal, Mr. Doc?
That's the idea. That's fine. Now, how about you, Buddy?
Well, yes, sir. I reckon I can talk like a little colored boy if I try powerful hard.
That's splendid. Just what I wanted.
But why do you want us to talk like little colored boys?
Because from now on, you're going to be known as Rastus and Sambo, 2 little colored boys. I'm going to blacken your faces the way they do in minstrel shows. We're going to have a little minstrel show, and you 2 boys will be my little black-faced comedians. I'm going to have Betty make you some red satin suits. Yes, sir, and we'll even make one for Charcoal. In fact, I think I'll pass you off as Charcoal's own little chocolate drop. How would you like that?
Not so much.
Oh, Mr. Doc, we don't want that old black stuff on our faces.
Why not? It won't hurt you. Come over here and I'll show you just how easy it is to put on. Now, you see this can of black stuff, boys? That's what they call burnt cork.
Looks like black soot, doesn't it?
Now, we take a little pinch of cork, mix water with it, and then just smear it on your face, like this, see? Come closer, Sonny. Now, you start putting it around your mouth and your cheeks and your forehead and your ears.
Boy, you sure look funny, Sonny.
Now, you're all ready for the minstrel, Sonny.
Come on, Buddy. It's your turn.
Mr. Doc, you don't mean that we'll have to keep this black stuff on our faces all the time, do you?
Oh, no. You can take it off when you go to bed at night. But say, with these black faces, we ought to have some songs to go with the makeup. You know any Negro songs?
Yes, sir. I know Lazy Bones, Dinah, and Black-Eyed Susan Brown.
Black-Eyed Susan Brown. That's a good one, Sonny. Sing it, and we'll see how it goes with your makeup. Play it for him, Betty.
All right.
If you care for something sweet in a gingham gown, give yourself a break and meet Black-Eyed Susan Brown, who gives you that southern drawl when she comes around, gets you with that high you all, Black-Eyed Susan Brown. Sugar stuff, sure enough, you'll get a thrill. You won't know what you're missing until you meet her. Who's the sweetest company when the sun goes down? No one but that heavenly Black-Eyed Susan, Black-Eyed Susan, Black-Eyed Susan Brown.
That's great. Just what we need. But say, you think the people in Mexico will understand our songs? You boys may have to learn some songs in Spanish. I don't suppose you know any, do you?
Well, I can sing the peanut vendor in Spanish.
You can? Well, let's hear it. Play it for him, Betty.
All right, Buddy.
Caserita, no te cuestes a dormir sin comerte un cucurucho de maní. Qué sabrosito y rico está. Ya no se puede pedir más. Ay, carecita, no me dejes ir, porque después te vas a arrepentir y va a ser muy tarde ya. Manicero se va. Manicero se va. Caserita, no te cuestes a dormir sin comerte un cucurucho de maní. Me voy. Me voy. Me voy. Adiós.
I'll say you can sing the peanut vendor. Betty, we're going to make a fortune with this show in Mexico. Why, when you boys get dressed in your red satin menstrual suits and with your faces blackened, even your own mother won't know you.
Mr. Doc, if you take us into Mexico, our mother will never find us, even if you do write to her.
I know Mother's wondering where we are and why we don't come home. Mr. Doc, if you don't write to her tonight like you promised, Sonny and I'll run away.
Run away? Don't you ever try to run away, or you'll be mighty sorry. Why, do you know what happens to little boys who run away down in Mexico? Well, they're seldom ever found. Remember what I said. They're seldom ever found. Now, as long as you boys behave, we'll get along all right. But don't you ever try to run away from me.
Mrs. Doc, here we is. This is Laredo, Texas. We's right at the Mexican border.
Mexico? Gee, Sonny, I'm getting scared.
Oh, there's nothing to be afraid of, is there, Betty?
Why, no, I don't think so. But stay close to me, boys. You never can tell what may happen.
Now listen, you boys, and you too, Betty. When we get to the bridge that goes over into Mexico, a customs officer will stop us and ask a lot of questions. And I want you all to remember this. Let me do the talking. If he asks you boys your names, you can answer that. Sonny, your name is Rastus. And Buddy, your name is Sambo. And if he asks where you live, don't answer him. Understand? Now let me hear what you'll say when the man asks your name, Sonny.
My name's Rastus. Yes, sir.
That's good enough. Now you, Buddy.
Yes, sir, white folks. Sambo's my name. Yes, sir.
That'll fool him easy enough. Well, here we are, and here comes the customs man. Now remember, let me do the talking. How do you do, sir? I'm Dr. Legree, and I'd like to go over to Mexico.
What for? A business or a pleasure?
Business.
How long do you expect to stay in Mexico?
Well, I don't know exactly, as long as business is good.
What is your business?
I have a little show, and I sell medicine.
You are the show by yourself?
Oh, no, I have other people with me back there in the house car.
Well, bring them out. We have to see and question everybody.
Yes, of course. I'll get them to come out at once. But I'm afraid you'll have to depend upon me for the most of your information. The people with me are very timid and hardly ever talk to anyone.
They'll talk to me, all right. Bring them out.
Oh, Betty, Charcoal, Rastus, Sambo, come here.
5 of you all together, eh?
Yes. Now, this is my little daughter, Betty.
What does your daughter do in the show?
She plays the piano, cooks, and keeps a house car in order for us. And this is Charcoal, my truck driver and comedian.
All right. And who are these little colored boys?
They are my little singers. And what singers? You never heard anything like them.
Whose children are they?
Why, they're Charcoal's children.
What's your name, boy?
Rastus. That's my name, yes, sir.
But what's your name?
My name's Sambo.
All right. Now, you want to take a show into Mexico, huh? You know you have to put a bond for each and every entertainer who enters Mexico. That will be quite a lot of money.
Well, how much bond?
Oh, there will be a bond of $500 for this man as chauffeur and another $500 for him as entertainer. There will also be a bond of $500 for each of these little boys.
$2,000 altogether, eh? I'm afraid that will be a little difficult. You see, I only have about $500.
All right, $500. That will let you in with your colored chauffeur. But you cannot take these little colored boys in.
Can't take them in? What do you mean I can't take them in? I've got to take them. Well, they are my feature attraction. They're my show. Why, without them, there wouldn't be any show. I've got to take them.
I'm very sorry, but this is the regulation. If you cannot put up $500 bond for each of these little boys, you cannot take them into Mexico. You will have to send them back home.
What? Send them back home?
Buddy, did you hear what the customs officer told Doc? He'll have to send us back home. Oh, boy!
The customs officer told Doc he'd have to send Sonny and Buddy back home. But will Doc do it? That's the question. A man who is mean enough to kidnap 2 little boys and break a mother's heart is not going to give up so easily. To get the answer, be sure to tune in to the next chapter in the adventures of Sonny and Buddy.
George Burns and Gracie Allen. With the music of Felix Mills and yours truly, Harry Bonzell. And now meet the people who live in the Burns house, George and Gracie. It's morning in the Burns home, a very special morning, as George discovers when he comes down to breakfast.
Happy anniversary, darling.
Say, that's right. Another year of married life.
Have you been happy, George?
You know I have.
Is there anything you could wish for that you haven't had?
Not a thing. Of course, there's nothing like a child to make a home complete.
Oh, thank you. But I won't always be a child. I'll grow up someday.
I hope so.
Gee, anniversaries come so fast. It doesn't seem like we've been married at any time at all. I can remember every detail of our wedding day.
Me too. We were playing vaudeville in Kansas City at the time. We got married at noon and darn near missed the matinee.
Yeah. And later on, I fixed a wedding dinner just for the two of us.
Yeah, we had one of those big, thick, juicy Kansas City steaks broiled in butter.
Yeah. And then you took me on your lap and kissed me, as only you could kiss.
You remember everything, don't you?
Oh, of course, darling. That day holds the sweetest, tenderest memory of my life.
Really?
Sure. I've never had a steak like that since.
Well, let's forget Kansas City and have a little breakfast.
Oh, no breakfast today, George. I've got a little surprise for you.
What is it?
Well, to celebrate our anniversary, we're going to spend today just like we spent our wedding day. And we were too nervous to eat our breakfast that day.
Well, today I'm not so nervous. Let's see.
Oh, you and your appetite. I thought you'd like to relive our wedding day.
Is your heart set on this idea?
Oh, yes, and you ought to give in to me, George. In the past, when you wanted one thing and I wanted another, who always had their way?
You.
Well, I know, so let's not change.
Okay, sweetheart. We'll relive our wedding day.
Oh, thank you, dear. You love the memories it brings back when we finally sit down to dinner. Me in my mother's wedding dress. You in my father's tuxedo.
No, that's going too far. We can't wear those old moth-eaten rags.
Oh, of course we can. I sent them to Pierre, the French cleaner, last week, and they look like new.
Oh, all right, you win. We'll wear them.
Good. Now, get your coat and let's go down to the market and buy a steak.
Are you kidding? We haven't had steak for months. I've been eating so much fish, cats follow me down the street.
So I know, darling. And I've been saving our red points for just this occasion.
Come in.
Hello, folks.
Well, Harry, you're just in time to congratulate us. This is our wedding anniversary.
Oh, the many happy returns. Say, how'd you ever talk her into marrying you, George?
Oh, he didn't talk me into it. I always wanted to find a man who was handsome and charming, so I married George.
Well, and did George help you look?
The Cantor influence. You'll have to excuse us, comedian. We're going to do some marketing.
Yes, we're going to have a wedding dinner just like we had the day we were married.
Oh, well, how about me furnishing the wedding cake?
Oh, that's sweet of you, but a cake is too much trouble.
Oh, no, it's no trouble at all.
Bye, Harry.
Blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. They fly so high, nearly reach the sky. Then, like my dreams, they fade and die. Oh, fortune's always hiding, very elusive. I've looked everywhere, and I still can't find it. I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air.
Get your hat, Gracie. Let's go.
Oh, I almost forgot. George, before we go to the market, I want to show you something.
What?
Oh, a little present I bought for a certain someone. Here, look at this.
Oh, darling, what a swell necktie.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. But you shouldn't have done it, honey.
Oh, I had to. It's the only way we'll ever get a steak out of that butcher.
Now, let's go.
Well, we're lucky, George. There's just one woman ahead of us at the meat counter.
Yeah, I hope that butcher will let us have steak.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Boswell. Thank you. You're the kindest, sweetest butcher in the whole world.
That's okay, Mrs. Garson. You've been a customer of mine for 10 years. You had the red points, and those 3 neckties didn't hurt any.
Oh, but to think you let me have 2 whole weenies. The skinless kind. Oh, thank you, Mr. Boswell.
All right, Mrs. Garson. Get up off your knees.
Bless you, Mr. Boswell. Bless you.
Now, what'll it be for you folks?
Tell him, George. Tell him.
We'd like a nice, big, thick, juicy...
Yeah?
Piece of halibut.
George.
I mean, we'd like a nice, big, thick, juicy piece of steak.
Steak? Don't you know there's a war on, buddy?
Oh, that's a fine thing to say to my husband. Why, George volunteered the first day. He walked into his draft board and he said, I want to fight. I want to help America win this war. But he didn't like their proposition.
Why not?
Well, if he fights, he wants to fight on our side.
Look, I've got 1 steak, and I'm taking that home myself. Now, forget it.
Oh, but Mr. Boswell, this is a special occasion. I'm only asking for the steak because I've been married to Mr. Burns 10 years today.
Well, that's different. You do deserve some compensation for that. But it'll cost you 97 points.
Well, we've got them right here.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Boswell. And we won't ask another favor. Oh, boy, that steak smells good. No food all day. I'm starved. When do we eat? Gracie, I said, when do we eat?
We don't.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry, dear, but I put my wedding dress on and I can't get it fastened.
Is that all? Forget it, sweetheart. I can't button my tuxedo either. So what?
So what? So we can't relive our wedding day. We're not the same people. Just look at me. Instead of being slender and gorgeous and irresistible, I'm fat and gorgeous and irresistible.
Gracie.
And you put on weight, too.
Well, that's only natural. When I got married, I settled down.
You settled in all the wrong places. It's too soon for you to be getting a middle-aged spread.
Well, if you want a skinny man, why don't you marry Frank Sinatra?
No, dear. I'd rather have too much too soon than too little too late.
But, sweetheart,
Well, look, we'll go on a strict diet until we get back to the figures we were married in.
But that may take weeks. What if I starve to death?
Well, it'll be for your own good.
Oh. Hello.
Hello, George. This is Harry.
Oh, yes, Harry. Did you take the wedding dress and tuxedo to Mrs. Galen, the dressmaker?
I'm there now, George. She let out Gracie's dress okay, but she had a little trouble enlarging the seat of your pants. She couldn't match the material.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, well, don't worry about it. It may not be all wool, but it'll be a yard wide.
Okay, just hurry and get them back before... I'll have to hang up now. Here comes Gracie.
Oh, George, I've been thinking we can lose weight even faster if we exercise while we're dieting.
But, honey, I haven't eaten all day. I'm too weak to exercise.
Oh, come on now. Bend down and touch your toes while I count.
While you count? How about bending down and touching your toes?
Oh, all right. While you're down there, you can touch mine, too.
Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
I'll get it, dear. You keep bending up and down.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
Oh, Oh, hello, Mr. Postman.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Burns. My goodness, what's the matter with your husband?
Well, my husband is taking exercises. You see, we've discovered that if married people get fat, they lose the feeling they had for one another on their wedding day.
Oh, I don't agree. My wife has gotten fat, and I still feel the same way about her.
You do?
Yes, I still despise her.
Well, I wish George and I didn't have to diet. That lovely steak we bought is certainly a temptation.
I'd be happy to remove the temptation.
Would you?
Oh, yes, I love beef. I guess it's only natural that a bull like me would be crazy about cow.
Well, you come into the kitchen with me, and I'll give you the steak.
Gladly.
1, 2. Where are you going, Mr. Postman?
Into the kitchen. Goodbye, Mr. Burns. Remember, keep bending.
I wonder what they're up to. Oh, well. 1, 2.
Hey,
1.
George.
Oh, Harry. You brought the clothes back from the dressmaker?
Yeah, here they are.
Oh, thanks a million, Harry.
Oh, that's okay. You can do as much for me if I ever get a little stout. Well, goodbye, George.
As I was walking down the street, I met somebody who was mighty sweet, mighty fair to see. I asked her, would you like to have a talk? Make some talk. All the fellas standing on the walk, wishing they were me. Oh, mama, mama, let me dress up tonight. I've got a secret, gonna fess up tonight. Gonna dance by the light of the moon. Gonna dance with the dolly with a hole in her stocking, while her knees keep a knocking and her toes keep a rocking. Dance with the dolly with a hole in her stocking. Gonna dance by the light of the moon. Oh, mama, mama, put the cat out tonight. I worked all day, I'm gonna scat, and I won't be home until dawn. Gonna dance with the dolly with a hole in her stocking, while her knees knock and her toes rock. I'm gonna dance with the dolly with a hole in her stocking.
Well, put a stop to this foolishness. Gracie!
Did you call, dear?
Yes. I just took our wedding clothes out of the closet, and look, my tuxedo coat fits me.
Oh, George, I'm proud of you.
Slip your dress on and see if it fits.
Oh, I could tell by just holding it up to me. Oh, this is wonderful.
I'll say. Bring on that steak.
Oh, the steak?
Yeah. Where is it?
I gave it to the postman so we wouldn't be tempted.
Oh, no. That's a whole page out of our ration book.
Yeah. Oh, what's the difference? You never read it anyway.
Well, I'll have to go back to the butcher and try to get something else.
Well, back so soon?
Yes, Mr. Boswell, I'd like some more meat.
More meat? What are you, a man or a St. Bernard?
Mr. Boswell, I've got to have some food. I haven't eaten all day. What do you say?
Baloney.
I'll take a pound.
Burns, you disgust me, but, well, business is business. I'll sell you a roast that ought to be a perfect fit.
A perfect fit?
Yeah, a pot roast.
Gee, thanks.
Well, the roast is done, dear. I'll put it on the table now.
At last. You see who's at the door while I go wash my face. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse.
Come in. Mrs. Burns? Yes. I'm Mrs. Galen, the dressmaker. I want to return this belt from your dress. What dress? Why, your wedding dress. Mr. Burns sent it over to have it let out. Oh. Oh, he did he? Mrs. Galen, how would you like to have a nice big pot roast? Why, I'd love it. Well, take that one on the table. My husband and I are on a diet.
Oh, thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Oh, George!
Yes, dear, is everything all ready? Are we going... Where's the pot roast?
I gave it to the dressmaker.
The dressmaker? What's the big idea of... Oh. The dressmaker?
Yes. Shame on you for trying to play a trick like that.
I guess I did stoop a little low.
Mm-hmm. But not as low as you're going to stoop. Start bending, brother. 1, 2.
1, 2.
1, 2. 1,
2. Food. I must have food. I'm starving.
Well, now it won't do you any good to moan, George. I want romance. And I can't get romantic about a man who has a lower chest wobble.
But, Gracie, I tell you, I'm starving to death. My poor stomach is growling.
Oh, don't be silly.
There.
No, that was the door buzzer.
Oh.
Come in.
Hello, folks. How's everything? Still on the diet?
I'll say we're still on it. I feel 50 years old.
Hey, I must try that. I'd like to take 10 or 20 years off my age.
I'm in no mood for jokes. Some anniversary dinner. I'm starving to death.
We'll have the dinner, dear, just as soon as our wedding clothes fit us again. We'll have a dinner just like the one we had the day we were married.
Gee, I'll bet that was a romantic affair. I can just see the two of you now. Dinner is over. You're sipping champagne. Your eyes meet. His ask a question. Yours say yes. He picks you up in his arms. He carries you into the kitchen.
Kitchen? Harry, please don't talk about dishes of food. I'm so hungry I'm about to faint.
Oh, you poor dear. I'll go get you some lemon juice.
Lemon juice? I want something I can sink my teeth into.
All right. I'll leave in the seeds. Be back in a jiffy.
Oh, murder. If she just hadn't found those wedding clothes and sent them to the cleaners and insisted that we... Hey, I've got an idea. Pierre the cleaner. Harry, can you do a French accent?
Oh, can I do a French accent? Get a load of this, George. Ah, Hetty, come with me to the Casbah.
Now, look, Harry. Here's how you can save my life.
Yeah?
Run next door and telephone Gracie. Pretend to be Pierre, the French cleaner. Tell her that you want to apologize for drinking the
Hello?
Hello. Madame Burns?
Yes?
This is Pierre, the cleaner.
Oh, yes, Pierre.
Madame, I shrink your wedding dress.
Oh, no, thanks. It's too small now.
No. I have already shrink it.
Oh, wait a minute. You mean you shrank it when I sent it to you last week?
Oui. And your husband's tuxedo, too.
Oh, really?
Oui. I'm so sorry, madame. But you know, c'est la guerre.
What?
C'est la guerre.
All right, la guerre. Did I say it right?
Oui. Goodbye, madame.
Goodbye, or as you French say, adios. Oh, George, everything's all right. We didn't gain weight.
Really?
No, the cleaner shrank our clothes.
Then we can eat?
Yes.
Oh, boy, bring on that... You gave the roast to the dressmaker.
Oh, yes. Well, you have to run to the butcher's and get some more meat.
I'm too weak to run. I'll crawl. Mr. Boswell.
Are you back again, Porky?
Please.
If there's one thing I can't stand, it's the sight of a man who's gorged with food.
But, Mr.
Why, you're so stuffed you can hardly talk. Why don't you just buy yourself a Knox and nibble on it?
Please, I'm starving. Give me some meat. Anything at all.
Okay. Here. You can have these calves' brains.
Oh, thank you.
But don't even. Have them injected.
Oh, calm down, George. I'm putting the calf's brains on the table.
Oh, boy. I wish we had the rest of the calf, too. See who that is, Gracie. I'll go and wash my hands. Oh, boy.
Come in.
Bonjour, madame.
Well, Pierre?
Oui, I called to pick up the cleaning.
Well, now, I don't know. I wouldn't want any more things shrunk.
Pierre never shrinks, madame.
Well, didn't you just telephone me and say you shrank my wedding dress?
Not Pierre.
Why, that little rascal.
Has madame anything for me to clean today?
Pierre, how would you like some calf's brains?
I will try. When would madame like them back?
Oh, no. They're sweet. Here, take them.
Oh, merci, madame. Au revoir.
Oh, so George has tried another trick on me. Well, we'll see about that.
Take it easy, take it easy. Don't you know you're not supposed to make the rumba jump? Take it easy, take it easy. If you don't, I fear that our romance will hit a bump. Don't you know it's time for romance when the music's sweet? You should really try to make your heart control your feet.
Okay, Gracie, I'm ready to eat. Who was that at the door?
Pierre, the cleaner.
Good. Now let's have a nice big dish of kit. Yeah, the cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
He, just picked up some clothes, huh? I guess he didn't. Well, look, it was all in fun, honey. Let's eat. Now, look here. We're not going back on that diet, or my name isn't George Burns. Call me Louis.
George and Gracie will be back in a minute.
Somebody loves me. I wonder who she can be. Somebody loves me. I wish I knew. Who can she be? Where is me? For every girl who passes me, I shout, hey, maybe you were meant to be my loving baby. Somebody loves me. I wonder who. Maybe it's you. Somebody loves me. I wonder
And now, here are George and Gracie.
Gracie, I don't think our figures have changed so much since our wedding day.
Oh, yes, they have. We were a handsome couple then. Just listen to this newspaper description of our wedding. I got it out of the scrapbook.
What does it say?
Here. The bride was beautiful in a dress of sky blue crepe. And the best man was handsome in a Prince Albert and striped trousers. The groom was George Burns.
Nice write-up.
Yeah, and we... Oh, George!
What?
Well, this dress I've been trying to get into. It isn't sky blue crepe. Well, this isn't my wedding dress.
Huh?
Well, no wonder it wouldn't fit. This is the dress I wore when I graduated from junior high school.
Good night, Paul.
This is the Armed Forces Radio Service.
The Jack Benny Program. Quality of product is essential to continuing success.
And Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
Yes, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
LSMFT, LSMFT, LSMFT.
Yes, sir.
You said it.
In a cigarette, it's the tobacco that counts. And Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
Year after year.
Today, tomorrow, always, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
Year after year at auction after auction, independent tobacco experts, auctioneers, buyers, and warehousemen can see the makers of Lucky Strike consistently select and buy that fine, that light, that naturally mild tobacco.
This fine Lucky Strike tobacco means real deep down smoking enjoyment for you. So smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike. So round, so firm, so fully packed. So free and easy on the draw.
At 50, American.
Just sit there, Benny, and keep your trap shut.
Yeah, one false move and we'll slug you.
But, fellas, please, untie me. My program is on. I should be there. I'll lose my job if I miss my first broadcast.
You're gonna miss them all, Benny.
What?
You ain't gonna drive us nuts anymore.
For 15 years, we've been listening to that, hello again, this is Jack Benny talking. Well, we've had enough of it, see?
Yeah, let's bump them off.
No. Please don't kill me. I don't want to die. Spare my life. I'll make it worth your while. I'll give you each $10. Please, fellas, don't kill me.
Go ahead, Joe. Let him have it.
Wait a minute. We ain't had no fun. Let's torture him first.
Okay. I'll burn him with my cigarette.
No, don't burn me. Don't burn me. Don't. What kind of a cigarette is it?
A Lucky Strike.
Okay, burn me. Burn me where it'll show. After all, Lucky Strikes are made of the light, that night, that fine, that naturally mild light. Let go of my tongue. What's the matter with you guys, anyway?
All right, Joe. We've stalled long enough. Lift him out of the chair and lay him on a table.
Okay, but I want to do a neat job on this guy. Hand me my rubber gloves.
Here.
No, fellas, don't kill me. I'll make it $11. I mean it.
Ready. Knife. Axe. Poison. Rope. Knife.
You've got that already.
Thanks.
Please, fellas.
Gun. Bullet. Atomic bomb.
What?
Give it to him.
Boss, wake up! Boss, wake up!
Huh? What? Oh, it's you, Rochester.
Yeah.
Gee, what a nightmare I just had. I was with two fellas, two of them. What a horrible dream.
Did you get stuck with the check again?
No, nothing like that. I dreamt I was held captive by a couple of thugs. They're going to keep me from going back on the air. It was terrible.
It must have been, boss. You look pale. Sick. Let me see your tongue. Fingerprints.
That's funny. There shouldn't be. You wore rubber gloves.
What'd you say?
Oh, nothing. You weren't there.
Doggone, boss, that sure must have been a realistic dream. Look how you thrashed around in the bed.
Yeah.
You even pulled an arm off your teddy bear.
Oh, darn it. I've had it ever since I was 30. What a nightmare. Seems like I always dream like that before an opening broadcast. Well, I better start getting dressed. Ouch. Rochester, I told you to shorten my nightgown. Why didn't you?
I was going to, boss, but I hated to cut those rosebuds off the bottom.
Well, get the car, Rochester, and as soon as I get dressed, we'll go to the studio.
Yes, sir.
Drive carefully, Rochester. I'm nervous. You know how it is before an opening broadcast.
What are you worrying about, boss? You've been on the radio 15 years.
Well?
If they ain't found out by now, they ain't never going to find out.
I guess not, but take it easy anyway. I don't want to have a lot of... Rochester, when you come to an intersection, blow your horn.
I can't. The rubber bulb is broken.
Well, then put it in your mouth and blow it.
But Trillo won't let me.
Well, anyway, here we are at NBC. Want to come in and watch the show, Rochester?
No thanks, boss. I'll sit here and listen to it on the radio.
Okay. The earphones are in the glove compartment. Here's the key.
Good luck, boss.
Thanks. Take back your samba, hi, your rumba, hi, your conga, hi, yi. Take back your
I
samba.
beg your pardon, Mr. Benny.
Yes?
May I have your autograph, please?
My autograph? Certainly.
Would you mind signing it in this pail of water? I want to try out my new pen.
Sure, just a minute. I'll pull up my sleeve. There you are.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take back your rumba, hi, your samba, hi. Gee, those pens are becoming popular. Maybe I ought to do some jokes about them on my program. Nah, the public isn't ready for it yet. Take back your samba, hi, your rumba, hi, your conga, hi. Hiya, Don.
Well, hello, Jack.
Well. Well, Don, we'll be on the air in a few minutes.
Yes, sir. How does it feel getting back in the groove again, Jack?
Well, to tell you the truth, Don, I'm a little excited. I mean, I feel good, but I don't know, I got a nervous stomach.
I know just how you feel, Jack. I got a nervous stomach, too.
Well, you're just about 30 inches more nervous than I am. But you'll be all right. See, Don, have you got everything all set for your part of the program? You know, just the way you want it?
I sure have, Jack. And I took the liberty of hiring a quartet to work with me during the commercials.
A quartet? For the commercial?
Oh, I knew
That
you'd
sounds
like
novel.
it. So I'll tell you what I did, Jack. I put them under contract for 8 weeks, and it will cost you only $500 a week. Isn't that wonderful?
Why, yes. I mean, yes. But, Don, that quartet must be sensational for that kind of money.
Oh, they are, Jack. This will start a new style in radio. Talking commercials with a big vocal background. You'll be crazy about it.
I know, but $500 a week for 8 weeks. Well, if it's as good as you say, Don, it might be worth it. How much time we got before we go on the air?
Oh, about 5 minutes.
I'll have the orchestra warm up. I'll be right out.
Okay.
Take back your samba, hi, your rumba, hi, your conga. $500 for a quartet. Hi. I can't keep moving. Hi, my chassis, hi any longer. Hi.
Jack, it's almost time.
Coming!
All right, everybody, stand by.
Take it, boys.
The Lucky Strike program, starring Jack Benny, with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Rochester, Dennis Day, and yours truly, Don Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been said that Jack Benny has made more people laugh than any other comedian who ever lived. And now we bring you the man who said it, Jack Benny.
Thank you. Hello again. This is Jack Benny talking. And Don, for our first show, that was a very nice introduction. But I wish you wouldn't make people think that I'm conceited enough to say that I made more people laugh than any other comedian. I mean, it's true, but I didn't say it. Well, Don, here I am starting my 15th year... My 15th year in radio. And, Don, just think, for 13 of those years, you've been with me.
I know, Jack, and I'll always be grateful.
Well.
Why, when I started out with you 13 years ago, I was just a little nobody. Yeah. And look at me today. A big fat slob.
Oh, don't thank me, Don. I'd have done the same for anybody. And, Don, the nice part of our association is that it's always been so pleasant and happy. I mean, I don't know. I like just being around you, especially when you laugh. You know, I haven't heard you laugh for 17 weeks. Go ahead, Don, laugh.
Oh, no, Jack, you
Come on, Don. Come on, laugh. Come on. No, come on. No, laugh some more. Come on, Don. No, Don, hard, real hard. Harder, Don, harder. Now, to you people sitting in the audience, if you ever want to get in here again, that's what I mean. And, Don, I know it's a little early in the show, but I want to hear this idea you have for the commercial, you know, with the quartet. You know, after all, it's $500. Are the boys ready?
Oh, yes, they're still rehearsing, but they'll be here in just a few minutes.
Good. I can... Oh, well, hello, Mary.
Hello, Jack. Hello, Don.
Mary, I haven't seen you in 4 months. Let me look at you. Gee, you look swell. You look wonderful. Different. What have you done to yourself?
Well, Jack, this summer I really took it easy and I gained 12 pounds.
12 pounds? Let me look at you again. Yes, sir. And your face looks fuller, too. Come here, Mary. Come here. Let me see if I can still get my arm around you.
Oh, Jack, don't be so silly.
Now, come here, Mary. Come here. Jackie's got you now.
Oh, Jack, now stop it. Ooh, you're so strong.
Come here. Give me a kiss.
Jack, you're hurting me. Where'd you get those muscles?
Eastern Columbia, Broadway at 9. Now, come on. It's a swell department store. Come here, Mary. Come on. Now, give me a kiss. A nice big one.
Oh, all right.
Come on. There.
Gee, what a kiss. What's come over you?
I don't know. I'm nervous. Maybe it's the quiver you like. Mary, tell me, what did you do all summer?
Well, I worked most of the time. I got laryngitis and made a lot of money.
You got laryngitis, made a lot of... What did you do?
I tiptoed into radio studios and whispered Martha Ivers.
Oh, was that you?
Say, Mary, you glad to be back on the program again?
I sure am.
I am, too. But you know, Mary, I must admit I'm a little nervous about the opening show.
Jack, if you think you're nervous, what about Phil Harris? He has 2 opening shows today.
Well, as a rule, I'm not... What? What did you say?
Phil has 2 opening shows, yours and the Fitch Bandwagon. He has his own program.
Phil has his own program? Gee, I didn't know that. That's gratitude for you. The least he could have done is let me know. Could have dropped me a postcard.
Or called you up.
No, my phone's disconnected during the summer. His own program. Phil. Gosh, what in the world can Phil do for a full half hour?
I don't know, but if he adds 2 more choruses to That's What I Like About the South, he's in.
I can't get over it. So Phil has his own program.
Do you mind?
Of course not. I like to see people get ahead. I want everyone to be a success. In fact, I'd even like to see Dennis Day get his own show.
He has.
What? Mary, did I hear you correctly?
If that thing in your ear is connected, you did.
Mary, this is no time to be funny. You're kidding about Dennis, aren't you?
No, he starts his own program Thursday night for Colgate. You're not mad, are you?
Well, of course I'm not mad. To be in fine shape if I let little things like that bother me. What do you think keeps me looking so young and strong?
Eastern Columbia, Broadway at 9.
I mean, besides that. Anyway, with me, it's just a matter of principle, that's all. If Phil and Dennis feel that they can go on their own shows and get laughs, it's all right with me. I don't care. Say, perhaps the little chicks feel that the nest that I built is too small and that they no longer need the sheltering wing of the mother hen.
If you lay an egg, I'm going to punch you right in the nose.
Mary, I was just being...
Jack, we can do the commercial now. The quartet's ready.
Oh, good. Mary, I want you to hear this. This is the new commercial Don thought of with a quartet behind it. I got him tied up for 8 weeks at $500 a week. Go ahead, Don. Let's hear it.
Okay. Ready, boys? Let's go. LS-MFT, LS-MFT. Yes, sir, you bet. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Yes, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, in a cigarette, it's the tobacco that counts. And Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw. Lucky Strikes are made of that fine, that light, that naturally mild tobacco. So for real deep-down smoking enjoyment, smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike.
For this, I'm paying $500?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, quality of product is essential to continuing success, and Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
Wait a minute. Don, is that all?
Yes.
For that, I'm paying $500 a week for 8 weeks? Stand aside, Don. I want to talk to this quartet. Listen, fellas, if you think I'm going to pay you $500 a week just for that, you're crazy. Now cut that out. And get out of here. Don, I thought you had something...
Hiya, Jackson. Hello, folks. Don't feel low. You'll soon hear Harris on his very own show, and hallelujah. Yes, sir. Lay that beautiful old program applause on me. Leave me know it. Make me know it.
Phil, Mary told me all about it. And I'd like to have a little talk with you about your own show.
Sorry, Jack, I ain't using no stooges.
I don't want to talk to you about that. Yet. I only want to know one thing. You've been with me for 9 years. Why did you go out and take another show?
M-O-N-E-Y. M-O-N-E-Y.
So that's why, eh? Well, that's the trouble with you, Phil. All you think about is money. Women and money.
Well, I don't know of a better parlay. Do you, Bub?
I knew I didn't have that nightmare for nothing.
Hello, Donzie.
Oh, hello, Phil.
Hiya, Livy.
Hello, Phil. You look great. Doesn't he, Jack?
Yeah, he looks swell.
Did you go away for the summer, Phil?
Yeah, I sure did, Livy. We were there, just the two of us, and we really had a wonderful time.
Just the two of you? Who'd you go with?
Ray Milan.
You and Ray Milan?
Yeah, we lost all of July and part of August.
Well, of all the good you're going to do me, you could have lost September and October, too.
Now, Mr. Benny, please don't be facetious.
Oh, fine. But, Phil, where'd you get a word like that?
My uncle died and left it to me.
Oh, congratulations.
But you know, Jackson, it's mighty good to see the old gang again, and I can't begin to... Say, who are these 4 guys?
I told you to get out of here. Quartet, $500. 8 weeks yet. Where's Dennis? It's time for a song. He's not here yet.
Well, I saw him this morning. He was going to rehearse for his own program.
His own program. What should I do with my program?
No coaching from the audience.
Oh, fine. Well, I'm going to call Dennis's house and find out why he's not here. Operator.
Oh, Mabel, what is it, Gertrude? Stage B is flashing. It must be Mr. Benny. Oh, yeah. I wonder what Notorious wants now. I'll find out. Yes, Mr. Benny. Who? Dennis Day. I'll try and get him for you. Gee, Mabel, don't it feel strange getting back to work after vacation? I'll say, but I really enjoyed myself. I spent 2 lovely weeks at Lake Winnipesaukee in the Pines. It sure was invigorating. Where did you go, Gertrude? I spent my 2 weeks in the mountains at Ginsburg's Rest. And what did you do? Ginsburg let me alone, so I rested. Gertrude, I had a wonderful time. Every day I went swimming. Look, here's a picture of me in my bathing suit. Oh, boy, what a picture. Doesn't even look like you. Where'd you get those beautiful curves? Eastern Columbia, Broadway at 9. Well, what do you know?
Operator.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Benny. Dennis Day does not answer.
Okay. How do you like that? It's a fine program. You think at least everybody in my cast would show up on time.
Who's late, Mr. Benny?
Dennis Day. Should have been here an hour ago.
Why don't you call him?
I did. I just tried. Dennis, where have you been? Dennis, I just tried to get you on the phone to find out that why you... Hey, wait a minute, kid. You're soaking wet. Is it raining out?
No, a man asked me for my autograph, and I fell in.
You don't have to be so nervous. It's not your own show yet, you know. That's what Get nervous on your own show. Listen, Dennis, there's something I want to talk to you about. Why did you go out and get your own program without consulting me?
Well...
And after all I've done for you. I found you when you were just a kid. I groomed you for radio. I gave you your big chance. I let you sing on the air every Sunday. I've been doing this for you, kid, for 8 years. Now, why did you go out and take another show?
I was hungry.
You silly boy. Why didn't you tell me you were hungry?
Yeah, Mother Hen Benny could have laid you a couple of eggs.
Mary, there's no time to be facetious. Now, Dennis, Phil, stop taking bows. I knew that word before you did.
You knew it before Webster did.
Yes, all right. Now, Dennis, I want to tell you something. And, Phil, this goes for you, too. You can all have your own shows if you want to. If necessary, I'll get myself a new cast, new people. People who can get laughs, like the Mad Russian, like Senator Claghorn.
Somebody said Claghorn.
I said it, and I'm going to get...
Out with it, son, out with it.
Listen, I'm going to get...
Your mouth's wide open, but your tongue's on
Look,
strike.
I'm going to get...
That's why you can't express yourself. Harold, that is.
Oh, what's the use? What's the use? This is a fine how do you do.
How do you do?
Dennis, stop! Now, listen, I meant what I said, and that goes for everybody here. And you 4 guys, too. Oh, for heaven's sake. Go ahead and sing, Dennis. I'm going home. Come on, Mary. I'll drive you home.
A rose must remain with the sun and the rain, or this lovely promise won't come true. To each his own, to each his own, and my own is you. What good is a song if the words just don't belong? And a dream must be a dream for two. No good alone, to each his own. For me, there's you. If a flame is to grow, there must be a glow. To open each door, there's a key. I need you, I know. I can't let you go. Your touch means too much to me. Two lips must insist on two more to be kissed, or they'll never know what love can do. To each his own, I found my own, one and only you.
Take it easy, Rochester. Nice song Dennis picked for his first show. To each his own show. It's a fine season I'm going to have. Phil's got his own show. Dennis has his own show. I don't know why they had to go out and get their own programs anyway.
Well, Jack, what are you so mad at them for? Don Wilson has 4 shows, and you're not mad at him.
He pays me commission. Rochester, leave Miss Livingston off first and then take me home.
Yes, sir.
And take it easy, Rochester, will you?
Oh, Jack, stop being so nervous and upset.
Why wouldn't I be upset? Nobody thinks of me. Phil has his own show. Dennis has his own show. My writers are still stranded on the gambling ship. Stuck with a lousy quartet. This can go on week after week, month after month, year after year. That's radio for you. It's enough to drive a guy crazy.
Well, then why don't you quit?
I will not.
Every year the same thing.
Just a moment, but first, here's my good friend L.A. Speed Riggs.
Make no mistake. In a cigarette, it's the tobacco that counts. And Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Mr. Charles Jackson Gunter of Mount Airy, North Carolina, who has been an independent tobacco buyer for 53 years, said,
Season after season, I've seen the makers of Lucky Strike buy tobacco that's really tops in smoking quality. Fine, ripe, smooth smoking tobacco that pays off in extra smoking enjoyment. I've smoked Lucky's myself for 29 years.
Independent tobacco experts like Mr. Gunter know that it takes fine tobacco to make a fine smoke. Yes, in a cigarette, it's the tobacco that counts. And Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco, and fine tobacco means real deep-down smoking enjoyment for you. So smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike.
LSMFT, LSMFT, LSMFT.
Yes, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
The famous tobacco auctioneers heard on tonight's programmer, Mr. L.A. Speed Riggs of Goldsboro, North Carolina. And Mr. F.E. Boone of Lexington, Kentucky.
That's 60, $60, 60, American.
Basil Rysdale speaking for Lucky Strike, the cigarette that means fine tobacco.
Say, boss, are you going out for dinner or are you going to stay home?
No, I think I'll go out.
Oh, with Miss Livingston?
No, she said she was going to bed early. Well, I'll call up and get a date.
Hello. National Broadcasting Company.
Hello, Mabel?
No, this is Gertrude.
Oh, let me talk to Mabel.
I'm sorry she left.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting. F.I. Los Angeles, Earl C. Anthony Incorporated.
Faithful friend when muscles ache and pain presents Gangbusters.
Calling the police, calling the G-men, calling all Americans to war on the underworld.
Gangbusters brought to you by the makers of Sloan's Liniment. With the cooperation of leading law enforcement officials of the United States, Gangbusters presents facts in the relentless war of the police on the underworld. Authentic case histories that show the never-ending activity of the police in their work of protecting our citizens. America's crusade against crime. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel H. Norman Schwarzkopf, our regular interviewer, is now serving with the United States Army. However, the colonel is continuing his supervisory duties on Gangbusters by proxy. In a moment, we'll be ready for our proxy interview between Colonel Schwarzkopf and Chief of Police J.P. Coffey of Valdez, North Carolina, who will relate the facts in the case of the 8th bandit, the college athlete who turned killer. But first, friends, there are 3 important qualities which have made Sloan's Liniment the world's best-known liniment for muscular aches and pains. Sloan's brings quick relief. Sloan's is the pad-on liniment. No rubbing or massaging is needed. And Sloan's eases pain, whether it's caused by overexertion, accident, or cold weather. Next time your muscles seem to be tied in knots, next time your back or your shoulder is stiff and sore, try patting on Sloan's liniment. It takes but a second, and almost instantly, you can feel that comforting warmth ease away the pain. If you haven't a bottle on the medicine shelf right now, it's time you made a mental note to ask your druggist for a handy bottle of Sloan's, the quick-acting liniment. Now for our proxy interview between Colonel Schwarzkopf and Chief of Police J.P. Coffey of Valdez, North Carolina. Picture our setting as a special office turned over to the Colonel by Commissioner Louis J. Valentine of the New York City Police. Colonel Schwarzkopf.
Chief Coffey, this case of Dwight Beard certainly has many unusual angles. As I recall, Beard had a powerful physique and was a star college athlete. His cunning brain used this to make incredible escapes.
That's right, Colonel. After looting a house, Beard would leap from an upper-story window to a nearby tree, swing himself to the ground, and then disappear. But Beard was soon apprehended. And the court, believing him sincerely repentant, placed him on probation, never realizing that Beard was already scheming new criminal activity.
I knew I'd never go to jail. I knew if I put on a good crying act, the court would think I was repentant. They caught me once, but they'll never get me again. I have a new plan. All I need is money, and I'm getting that money tonight.
It was on the night of February 18th, 1932, in the little town of Valdez, North Carolina, that Beard went after this money. There, Beard and another man waited for the return of the local storekeeper.
Are you sure this storekeeper will have the money on him tonight, Beard?
I know he will. I also know he'll come up this path to his house.
Where can we hide?
This tree.
Why, you're crazy, Beard. We can't both hide back of this tree.
We won't be back of it. We'll be up it.
What?
Come on, climb.
Okay, Beard, if you say so. All right, come on. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, do you think this branch will hold both of us?
Sure. There. Now, when our friend passes under the tree, we'll drop down and grab him.
Yeah, that's a good idea, but what if
Someone's coming.
the storekeeper?
Get ready.
I'm set.
Drop.
Oh, who are you?
No noise. Hand over that money.
No, I won't.
Why, it's you. It's in that satchel, pal. Grab it.
I got it.
No, help. Hey, give me my money.
I said
give me
quiet.
Beard, you killed him.
In this brutal manner did Dwight Beard commit his first murder, Colonel. Immediately, printing presses roared as thousands of police circulars were sent to all nearby police departments.
To all police chiefs, urgent, wanted for murder, Dwight Beard, 23, 175 pounds, 5 feet 11 inches, fair complexion, athletic build, Reward for his arrest and conviction. Notify J.P. Coffey, Chief of Police, Valdez, North Carolina.
Thus, Dwight Beard started his life of crime, Colonel, a hunted man. He was recognized but not captured in Georgia, in Louisiana, and in Florida. But for months, nothing more was heard of Beard. He had taken on a new name. Then, in April of 1933, a significant meeting took place between two men in St. Paul, Minnesota, in an apartment house.
That's my proposition, Wilson. The police will never suspect us. I worked this plan out step by step, ever since I was in college.
I admit you have something unusual, but I don't trust you. Let's put our cards on the table. You say your name is Donald Haynes?
Well?
Let's not kid each other. I know that's not your real name.
Listen, Wilson. As far as you're concerned, my name is Donald Haynes.
Okay, Haynes. Whatever you say.
I need a partner who has the proper underworld connections. You have. You coming in with me? Yes or no?
Well, Haynes, let's put it
I said
this
I'll have
way.
access to every wealthy home in the city. These rich people will be my friends. It's a setup in a million.
What makes you think that you, a stranger in town, can just walk out and get to know all the ritzy people living around here? Why, it'd be like sending me to New York to crash the 400.
That's right, Wilson. You couldn't do it. But I can.
You sure hate yourself. But I still want to know, how are you going to do it?
With these. These golf sticks are going to open the doors of the wealthy to me.
What?
Yes, Wilson. These golf sticks.
Are you nuts?
It may take a week, it may take a month. But I have each step carefully planned. I start tomorrow on the golf links. And you'll see how I make out. I can't miss. All right. Tee up my board, Caddy, and we'll see what I do in this last hole.
Yes, Mr. Haynes.
By the way, just what is my score?
Well, Mr. Haynes, I never see such golf shooting all my born days. There's 3 strokes under the course record already.
Not so bad, eh?
Well, Mr. Haynes, yours is a wizard. You're only a new member of this club, but all the other members been asking me who you is and how you shoot golf so good.
That's so? Let me have the driver.
Yes, sir. It's par 4 on this hole, sir. It's a dog's leg. The green's about 300 yards away.
All right. Here we go. Right over that pond.
Lordy me. Look at that ball go like an old eagle eye right over the pond. Mr. Haynes, you've done it on the green and one. You see that? On the green and one.
Not so bad, if I do say so myself.
Oh, wait till folks back at the clubhouse hear about this golf shoot, Mr. Haynes. They'll never get over talking about it. No, sir, never.
In this way did Dwight Beard, alias Donald Haynes, worm his way into St. Paul, Minnesota society, Colonel. Within a week, he was playing golf with some of the city's wealthiest men. Within a month, he was a welcome guest in some of the city's finest homes. Then Beard and his partner Wilson had a talk in Beard's apartment.
Stage is set, Wilson. All the groundwork is laid. We're ready for action.
Well, Haynes, I've got to hand it to you. You worked this thing out just as you planned. I've read about your social life in the newspapers.
We need money now, and we're going to get it, Wilson. I bought you a chauffeur's uniform and a butler's outfit today.
What for?
It's essential that you drive the car for me.
Oh, I get it.
When I invite these people here, you serve tea or drinks, whatever's necessary.
Okay. I'll play the perfect butler or chauffeur or anything you say, Mr. Haynes, so long as we get the dough. What's our first job?
See this invitation?
Donald Haynes, Esquire. Mr. and Mrs. G.B.F. Smythe request the pleasure of your company at a dinner dance to be held in honor of Count and Countess
Some visiting celebrities. Can you imagine the wealthy people and all that jewelry stuff each woman will be wearing in order to impress the Count and Countess?
There'll be a fortune there. Yeah, but Haynes, are you sure you can pull a job like this alone?
Listen, Wilson. I know every inch of the Smythe's home. I know just what door to enter, so no one will see me. The whole job will take less than 5 minutes.
Sounds okay to me.
This Saturday evening, you'll drive me to the Smythe's. The guests are in for an unexpected surprise. Sure you have all my evening clothes in the back of the car, Wilson?
Sure, Haynes. Collar, shirt, tie, studs, everything.
It's 8:30. Guess they've all probably arrived at the Smythes by now.
One thing, Haynes. You're supposed to be a guest there yourself. How are you going to rob them without their recognizing you?
That's up to me. Turn up this driver, Wilson. It's a servant's entrance.
Right.
All right, stop back of this clump of bushes.
Okay. Quite a party in there.
Yeah, French door is opening into the house on this side. I'll get in that way. You turn the car around and be ready to make a quick getaway when I come out.
Right.
Now, let's see. I think I have everything. A basket, gloves, revolver. I'll just slip on this mask.
Haynes, I don't know if you can do it. There must be at least 30 people in that house.
Don't worry, Wilson. You just be set for a quick getaway.
Okay. Watch your step.
All right, everyone. Don't make a move. Stay right where you are.
He's wearing a mask.
Quiet. I don't want to have to kill anyone. And no heroics from you men. Now, ladies, start removing your jewelry. Drop it in this basket. You men, empty your pockets.
All right, all right.
Come on. I mean business.
This is an outrage.
Quiet.
This is my wedding ring. Do I
You can keep the ring, but not that bracelet.
Thank you. Here's my bracelet.
This is the most terrible thing I've ever
Put
heard.
it in there. Thanks for the jewelry. I'll be going now, but I'm warning you. I'll kill the first person that starts after me. Good night. Take this basket, Wilson.
Okay, Haynes. Hop in.
Step on it, Wilson. Fast. Pull up by the side of the road, Wilson, while I change to these evening clothes.
Yeah.
Now I gotta get dressed fast.
And then what? After you're all dolled up?
You drive me back to the Smythes, of course. They're expecting me.
You're going back there?
Listen, stupid. 3 minutes ago, these people were held up by a masked gunman in a gray suit, light hat, and tan shoes. 5 minutes later, I arrive in evening clothes as an invited guest.
Yeah?
You think anyone would ever figure that I'm the one who just held them up? Well, when I get back there, if they haven't already called the police, I'll do it for them.
Police records show, Colonel, that Beard pulled more than 50 robberies in this manner.
Yet, Chief Coffey, for all his cunning, it's evident that luck played with him. If anyone had seen Beard in his quick change act, he would have been captured the very first time he tried the plan.
That's true, Colonel. And as you point out, his luck did change.
Chief Coffey, before you tell us how this murderer and thief was discovered, Charles Stark has a few words for us.
During this raw, wet, blustery time of year, you're going to hear many folks complain they're chilled to the bone. Too often a chill like that brings muscular aches and pains. But just so long as you have a bottle of dependable Sloan's liniment handy, you needn't worry. For over 2 generations, this famous Pat-On liniment has been giving quick relief when muscles ache. Millions of people the world over use and like Sloan's liniment. They find it so easy to apply, so promptly acting and comforting. If you have a mean crick in your back or a sore leg or arm, try Sloan's liniment yourself. Just pat it on lightly, lean back and relax. Like a heat treatment, a delightful warmth penetrates to those sore and stiffened muscles, soothing away the pain in no time at all. The next few months are the Sloan months. Always have a bottle of this family friend in need ready to serve you when pain strikes. Sloan's liniment costs very little, but it's sure worth plenty when you need it in a hurry.
Now, Chief Coffey, you say Dwight Beard's luck changed?
The breaks were all going Beard's way at first, Colonel Schwarzkopf. Then, as is usual between two crooks, trouble broke out one night at Beard's apartment.
Hey, Wilson, come in here.
What's on your mind, Haynes?
I've been doing some figuring. The last 6 months, you've made pretty good money.
Well, haven't you?
Now we're going to make a new agreement. So I'm cutting down on your share. Hand it over or I'll drill you.
Here.
Thanks. This added to my pile makes quite a tidy sum.
You'll let me go now?
To tip off the police when you get outside?
I won't. I swear I won't.
Save your breath, Wilson. I don't need you any longer, and I'm getting rid of you.
All right. But don't shoot me.
I'm not going to shoot you, Wilson. That's too much noise. Back in college, I was a star wrestler. I can snap your neck with my bare hands.
No,
I don't
Haynes.
need this gun. I'll throw it on the table.
You threw your gun down. But I got one of my own.
Wilson.
Get over against that wall, Haynes. Oh, whatever your name is. Get over there.
Are you crazy?
I never did trust you, you crook. Now it's my turn to pick up the dough.
Put that money down. It's mine.
Shut up. Shut your pretty mouth for a change. I'm sick of hearing you blow about how smart you are. How you're the mastermind of crime.
Listen, where you going?
Thanks for your share of the dough, Mr. Haynes. It makes quite a tidy sum. So long, pal.
With Wilson gone, Beard had to work alone, Colonel. 2 nights later, in the living room of a wealthy Minneapolis family home.
Marion, dear,
Yes, George?
what are you reading?
Oh, just one of the latest novels. Why don't you get a book and read, too, George? You seem so restless tonight.
I was down at police headquarters today.
Yes? Oh, have they traced any of the stolen jewelry?
Oh, no, it takes time. But, Marion, the police have a theory that this epidemic of robberies is the work of one of our friends.
One of our friends?
Yes, the police say that anyone who knew as much about the inside of our homes as the... Marion,
Yes, George?
didn't you say the servants were all out tonight?
Why, yes, they are. Since we were staying home, I
Wait.
thought that... What's the matter?
Listen.
But I'm sure there's no one in the house but us.
Hear that?
Someone's upstairs.
I'm going up. You call the police.
I'm afraid. Let me come with you.
All right, dear. Careful now. We don't want these stairs to squeak.
George.
Yes?
I'm sure I left the light on at the top of the stairs. Someone's turned it out. What's that?
Someone's in this room.
Oh.
I'll open the door.
George! Oh, George, are you all right?
There he is.
He's going to jump out that window.
Come on.
Oh,
He fell into the yard.
is he dead?
No, he's moving. Marion, you call the police. I'm going down there and grab him before he can get away.
Was that another of Beard's jobs, Chief Coffey?
Yes, Colonel. And although badly hurt after jumping from the Smythes' window, he succeeded in getting away. The police began checking all doctors and hospitals. 3 hours later, in a hospital room in Minneapolis...
Nurse. Nurse.
So, you're awake at last.
Who are you?
You know very well who I am. You're under arrest.
You want me for robbery?
No, we've got your partner Wilson to answer the robbery charges. We want you for something else.
What? Why am I under arrest?
It's an easy thing to change your name from Beard to Haynes or any other name you choose. But there's one thing you can't change, Dwight Beard. Your fingerprints.
Fingerprints?
We took them while you were asleep. We know your whole record, particularly the crime you committed at Valdez, North Carolina.
No. I didn't have
You're
any...
all washed up, Beard. You're going back to North Carolina to be tried for murder.
Chief Coffey, I know that Beard was immediately returned to North Carolina. Was he convicted of murder?
Yes, Colonel, after a long court battle. Then an unexpected thing happened. Beard's sentence was commuted to life imprisonment. A year passed, then one night in the prison yard at North Carolina State Prison.
Hey, Beard.
Oh, hello, Connie.
I thought your leg was broke, but I just saw you walking as good as anyone.
That was a stall. I always pretended my leg was hurt after I left the hospital. The guards figured they don't have to watch me as closely as the others.
Yeah?
After tonight, they won't have to watch me. I'm getting over that wall tonight.
Well, you got a ladder?
No. I'm jumping over.
Don't kid me, Beard. That's a 12-foot wall. Even a kangaroo couldn't hop that.
Come over here, Connie.
Okay.
See this long pole I have hidden against this wall?
Yeah?
Ever see a pole vaulter?
You mean one of those guys that jumped
I used to pole vault when I was in college. And tonight I'm vaulting over that wall.
Over a 12-foot wall?
Yeah. May even break the world's record. But it's going to be strictly unofficial.
Attention, prison break. Dwight Beard, murderer, escaped from North Carolina State Prison at Raleigh, Beard is 5 feet 11, 175 pounds, light complexion, athletic build, extremely dangerous. May be riding freight train heading south. Watch all trains heading south.
Okay, down there, Sheriff.
Yeah, Beard's not hiding on this freight. You can signal the engineer to go ahead.
Okay. All clear. All clear. Pull over there.
See any white man along the roads as you came through?
No, sir, boss. I ain't seen no one but myself all the time.
All right, get going.
Meanwhile, two police officers talked in Dallas, Texas.
Officer Roberts, I'm certain that Dwight Beard is somewhere in the Southwest.
If he's here, we'll get him, Sheriff. Police departments in every town in the country have circulars on Beard with full descriptions. He can't hide out forever.
No, sooner or later, we'll get him.
Yes. I wonder what it feels like to be a hunted man every minute of the day and night.
This river's like ice. But I gotta get across. They're after me. After me with bloodhounds. Won't let me rest night and day. Everywhere, cops, cops, cops. Driving me crazy. They won't let me sleep. I can't sleep. I can't sleep. I can't sleep.
It was on the night of December 23rd, 1936, that Dwight Beard arrived in Dallas, Texas, Colonel. But he was no longer the self-confident college man who had a plan for the perfect crime. Down at the heels, shifty-eyed, he slunk along a Dallas side street and walked up to a store.
Yes? You wish something?
Listen, guy, hand over your money or I'll kill you. I swear I will.
No. Don't. Here, take the money.
That's better. If you try to follow me, I'll kill you.
Help! Hold up! Help!
You dirty rat!
What's wrong? Officer Roberts, I've just been held up. Man in the gray sweater. He ran down that cellar. Get back, all you people. Out of the way. Get back, all of you. Officer Roberts, don't go down there. Yes. Officer Roberts. Officer Roberts. Are you hurt bad? Somebody killed a cop. Yes, it's Officer Roberts.
Call an ambulance. Get help. Do something. Help.
Officer John Roberts was dead, Colonel.
The second murder chalked up against Dwight Beard.
Yes. From descriptions given by the storekeeper and the witnesses, Dallas police, who had memorized Beard's wanted circulars, soon knew that Dwight Beard was the murderer, and emergency squads were hurriedly ordered to converge on the area where Beard was last seen.
All right, you men. Take up your positions back of this wall. The killer's hiding in that garage. Train your machine guns on the door of that garage.
Right,
Yes, sir. You other squads over there in position?
Yes, sir. Keep down, everyone.
Hey, you in the garage. We know you're Dwight Beard. You're completely surrounded. Come out before we open fire. All right, men. Now we'll give him a taste of his own medicine. Put around the machine gun bullets through the roof of the garage.
Captain?
Yes?
I'm up here in this fire escape. I can see the killer. He's climbed on the roof of the garage.
What?
And there's a truck parked in the street. He's going to try and jump in it and get away.
Come on, men. Follow me.
There's the gunman. He's going to jump past him. Grab him.
Oh,
I got him.
I'm hurt. Let me go. Let me go.
Get up on your feet. We'll put the handcuffs on him.
I didn't do anything. I'm hurt. I didn't do anything. So you thought you could jump to that truck and get away? A college athlete, huh? Come on, Dwight Beard. Start walking. Your jumping days are over.
And so, Colonel Schwarzkopf, for the second time in his life, Dwight Beard was arrested and tried for murder. But this time, the death sentence was carried out. Dwight Beard was electrocuted June 6, 1937, in the prison at Huntsville, Texas.
Thank you, Chief Coffey, for bringing us the facts in this case of Dwight Beard, the ape bandit. It's too bad that a college education athletic ability, and social accomplishments should have been used to rob good householders and snuff out the lives of law-abiding citizens. All because he would not learn the fundamental truth that crime never pays. And now, before we broadcast our nationwide clues, a few words from Charles Stark.
Now that Mother and Sis have finished the dinner dishes, the last job in a long, hard day, they'll know what I mean when I talk about a weary back and sore arms. So many people suffer needlessly at a time like that, when just patting on Sloan's liniment will bring them quick and comforting relief. This famous liniment is the friend of all the family, the enemy of muscular aches and pains for more than 50 years. Try it just before going to bed for those housework aches. Or perhaps Dad has a stiff neck from sitting in a draft, or the youngster bumped his elbow playing football. In all those little family emergencies, Sloan's will help smooth out the kinks in those aching muscles. It's easy to apply, just pat it on, and you can feel it go to work like a heat treatment to bring you back to yourself again. If you haven't a bottle on the medicine shelf right now, make sure to ask your druggist for Sloan's liniment when you go shopping tomorrow. And now, the clues.
Warning, citizens of Southwest, watch for escaped Texas bad man Charles G. Duffield, 24, 5 feet 9 inches, 147 pounds, black hair, brown eyes, tattoo, word chief, upper outer left arm, tattoo, emblem, heart and dagger with bird and ribbon, outer right arm. This man, notorious Dallas robber, escaped last week from State Prison Farm in Texas.
Attention, citizens of western states. Beware a man 6 feet or more, 200 pounds, dark bushy hair, small mustache, wearing dark trousers and jacket which look new. This man wanted for robbery last week of store and for subsequent kidnapping and beating of woman, leaving woman unconscious along road, Ely, Nevada.
Caution, citizens of Pacific Coast. Be on lookout for bank robber, 35, 5 feet 6 inches, 130 pounds, fair complexion, wore dark double-breasted suit, gray cap, carried .38 caliber blue steel revolver. This man wanted for robbery last week, bank, Los Angeles, California.
If you have any information concerning these clues, notify your local police or gangbusters at once. Next week, the amazing case of the ruthless gang leader who used dynamite as his tool. Train after train laid waste, innocent victims killed, and the fiend who thought he could escape. Hear how alert police authorities caught this gang through sheer persistence and scientific investigation. You friends of Sloan's liniment are in for another treat as Phillips H. Lord opens chapter 213 in the officially endorsed America's Crusade Against Crime.
Calling the police, calling the G-men, calling all Americans to war on the underworld.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Last week of store and for subsequent kidnapping and beating of woman, leaving woman unconscious along road, Ely, Nevada. Caution, citizens of Pacific Coast. Be on lookout for bank robber, 35, 5 feet 6 inches, 130 pounds, fair complexion, wore dark double-breasted suit, gray cap, carried .38 caliber blue steel revolver. This man wanted for robbery last week, bank, Los Angeles, California.
If you have any information concerning these clues, notify your local police or gangbusters at once. Next week, the amazing case of the ruthless gang leader who used dynamite as his tool. Train after train laid waste, innocent victims killed, and the fiend who thought he could escape. Hear how alert police authorities caught this gang through sheer persistence and scientific investigation. You friends of Sloan's liniment are in for another treat as Phillips H. Lord opens chapter 213 in the officially endorsed America's Crusade Against Crime.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
My word.
A panel game devised by Tony Shrine and Edward J. Mason. And here to introduce the teams is Michael O'Donnell.
Thank you very much, and welcome to another bout of competitive wordplay between our two teams of compulsive word players, Dilys Powell and Frank Muir. And Antonia Fraser and Dennis Norden. Now we're going to start with a brief voyage round their vocabulary, hoping not to run aground. Frank, what's the meaning of abecedery? A-B-E-C-E-D-A-R-Y.
It's somebody who teaches you your alphabet.
They're getting very near to it. Something they might use to teach you your...
Dictionary.
Yeah, a dictionary would be an abecedery.
Then I rest my case.
Yes. Well, 1.5. No, 1.6 I think you've got so far.
Mary's blinched.
Yes, our scorer has now gone decimal. It's a type of book.
It's a sort of book which is in alphabetical order.
Well done. The extra point for squeeze out 2 marks to Frank. Antonia, a spandrel. What is a spandrel? S-P-A-N-D-R-E-L.
Well, I think I'm right. It's you see them in cathedrals, don't you?
Yes, indeed.
And it's one of the sort of punctuations of Gothic architecture.
It's an architectural feature.
Yes, yes. You put that very well.
I think we'll give you a mark and put you out of your agony and say it's that odd triangular bit outside the outer bit of the arch. I'm having to draw it in the air. It's like a spiral staircase between the arch and a horizontal wall that's alongside it. It's the little triangular bit. Dilys, what's the meaning of basilisk? B-A-S-I-L-I-S-K.
Basilisk is a kind of mythical creature.
Indeed.
If you look at it, I think you fall down dead.
Indeed.
So I hope there are none round.
That's well, we give you your 2 marks. Do you know what sort of a creature it was?
What sort?
Yes, well, I mean, had it got legs or a tail or horns?
Well, I've never seen one. That's why I'm here.
Oh, dear, yes. There's 2 marks for getting the answer and an extra mark for killing the chairman. It was, in fact, a reptile, a mixture between... It was a serpent that had been hatched out of a cock's egg, which you can't get more mythical than that. Dennis, the meaning of rumble gumption. R-U-M-B-L-E-G-U-M-P-T-I-O-N.
It's one of those words which is obviously not an important word, so nobody gets offended if you get it wrong. No professions or minority groups or rumble. I would think it's having the sense to know when your stomach thinks it's time to have something to eat.
That's 2 marks. 2 marks. Well done. In fact, 3 marks. I think you get a bonus for that because you particularised it. Because it really just means common sense, and I can't think of a better example.
I got the gumption, but I couldn't make out what the rumble was.
Yes, it's rumble, gumption, common sense, nous. It's another of those words. Well done. Now, before we move on to our next round, let me give you the quotations that Frank and Dennis have been given for the last round. And Frank's is In Memoriam, which is a poem by Tennyson, or a column in our local newspaper. And Dennis... All the news fit to print, which is the motto of the New York Times, attributed to the publisher Adolph Ochs. I think it's Ochs, O-C-H-S. Meanwhile, we'll have a round of technical terms. To what sphere of human, commercial, or mechanical activity do the following words or phrases properly belong? Frank, this is your collection. To dodge, to go into a slow hunt, to call her in the middle with a double.
Call her in the middle. Call her in the middle. It's darts. To dodge means you've got a couple of pints of beer and you walk between the dartsman and the board. That's to dodge. To go into a slow hunt is when you drop your dart. When people have been walking around, and you've got to crawl under the tables and look for it and replace the flight. And call her in the middle.
With a double.
Call her in the middle with a double. Well, it's when you suddenly realise it's getting late and you break off before the conclusion of the game to telephone your wife.
Well, it's all wrong, of course, but you've got 2 marks. I wasn't going to stop you. So
What's
you get
your
2
story?
marks for
What's your
inventing.
story?
My story
Come on.
is to do with campanology,
Oh,
or what we doctors call bell ringing. And they're descriptions of the sequences in which bells are rung in a peal. Anyway, we gave you 2 marks, Frank, because I thought your answer was better than the one I had in front of me. Antonia, you've just got 2 here. A hysterical historical and a bodice ripper.
Well, a bodice ripper is a delightful form of fiction in which the bodice generally of thin silk, which makes it easier for the hero to rip it. Although he is so manly, he could actually rip fustian. But nevertheless...
Sailcloth.
Nevertheless, silk is all he's presented with. And I leave it to imagination what happens after he's ripped it. That's one. And I think historical must be another form of historical novel.
Now, they both mean the same thing. Actually, I think Peter Moore, who sets these questions, got rather carried away in his description, but it's nice. He says, both define fantasized 18th or 19th century romantic novels salted with sex and violence, but sanitized with frills and furbelows. I think we'll give Peter a mark, won't we, for that? Dilys, where do these come from? A glitch, a glauc, to gronk, and to grovel.
Well, they're all words with which naturally I'm extremely familiar. I think that they're sort of swear words which have been rather kept from the purity of my ears. Sort of say, oh, really, glitch, Gronkoff. Is that right?
No, but you like Frank, you've won your 2 marks for outdoing the original. I think they're much better. They in fact come from the only language in which my 15-year-old son is fluent.
Mongolian. Oh, I know.
You know.
Computer.
Computer.
Oh. It is, yes, they come from
you
computers.
Are gifted.
And
Well, it's a 15-year-old. It's a giveaway.
Yes, well, I was trying to be helpful, but you got your 2 marks for being so inventive. They're terms to do with various incomprehensible things about computers. Dennis, 2 for you, 2 phrases. To dangle the Dunlops. And to top up for Mum and Dad.
I don't know. It's Dunlop and top up for Mum and Dad. It's tennis or motorcar.
They're to do with tyres, but not motorcar tyres.
Oh. Well, I don't.
I think I'll put you out.
They use it in swimming baths sometimes. Tyres or in lions' cages they leap through.
Flaming.
They're not lion tamers jargon, are they?
Aircraft tyres.
You drop a
done.
Aircraft tyres.
Aircraft.
Lowering the undercarriage.
Well done.
Yes,
Frank's got himself. What about to top up for Mum and Dad? It's civil aviation, so your wartime.
Presumably blowing up,
don't work.
Inflating the tyres.
No, nothing to do with tyres.
Oh.
I would hope you'd tell me, because I'll tell you what it says. And it says to take on extra fuel to allow for a diversion from a suspect airfield. Now, what is a suspect airfield? I wanted to know. Anyway, that's...
Luton.
Anyway, Dennis, everyone scored marks for invention on that round. Well done. Now we move on to a round of hats. Frank, describe the type of hat which became eponymous that was sported in Paris by a Miss O'Farrell.
It's made of hard felt. With a straight brim, and it had a dent in the top. Yes. Rather like half a hot cross bun.
But it was sort of soft felt, actually. I didn't know.
Soft felt, yes.
And was called?
A trilby.
Well done. As worn by?
Miss Trilby.
Well done. 2 marks to Frank. Antonia, for what reason did a hat, the property of Herr Gessler, an Austrian bailiff, inspire Schiller to write a play and Rossini an opera?
Well, the answer is William Tell. And I suppose the hat, what was it? They shot through the hat and then he had to put the apple on his boy's head.
No, it's William Tell.
To keep the doctor away.
William Tell gets you, you're halfway there, gets you 1 mark. But the hats came in.
Well, he shot at in some way, he either snatched the hat. He was a subversive, a dissident, William Tell. And he did something to the hat.
Oh, he didn't do something to
That's right. He refused to take off his hat.
No. I can't really...
He refused not to take off his hat.
He refused not to take off his hat, as Frank said. But I know the punishment so well.
Yes, we all know the punishment. But the offence is what we're after. The offence was he refused to, or he declined to salute the hat that was on a pole.
That's right.
Gessler put there. Anyway, 1 mark for William Tell. Dillis, why is a wide-awake hat, the hat with a large, the wide floppy brim, the wide-awake hat, why is it called that? Do you know?
Well, extraordinary as it may seem, I do know. Yes, I know. It's called wide awake because it was made of some kind of felt which didn't take a nap.
That's right. Never had a nap.
Right, yeah.
Well done. I really think that deserves an extra mark.
It's rather jolly, isn't it?
Because it's a real knight's move, that, isn't it? Wide awake hat.
Wide awake.
Never had a nap. Well done. Dennis, from a scrutiny of a battered billycock hat, Mr. Sherlock Holmes was able to deduce, or Basil Rathbone, when I saw him, was able to deduce that its owner was unlikely to have gas in his house.
We once went through all the Sherlock Holmes short stories, Frank and I, when we were writing a Sherlock Holmes parody in order to find out, to construct some of these deductions ourselves. And they're very, very difficult to do. And the one we got actually involved a hat, which was that the man came in, we made it sort of up to date, and he said, "I see you have been to the cinema." And I said, Watson says, how did you know that? And he said, "Because you have chocolate in the crown of your hat." But I can't remember what happened to why the clue of the billycock hat.
Is it wax in it?
Well, yes, then, so he wouldn't have had gaslight because he'd have had
candles,
or he'd had lit the candles with a taper or a bulb.
He had candle wax on his hat and therefore didn't have gas laid on, as it says. Well done. 2 marks to Dennis. Grease from a tallow candle. Comes from his medical book, The Blue Carbuncle, that one. Now we come to the round of Frank and Dennis's quotations. And Frank, let's see how you get on with In Memoriam.
Wonderful, meaningful poem by Tennyson. And when Tennyson was asked in the body of his work which of his poems brought him most personal satisfaction, he always used to reply, "In memoriam." I can't do the West. And now, if I have a fault, which I haven't, it is modesty. And the other day, I said to myself, Frank, CBE. Isn't it strange how well your career as a professional singer on the BBC has gone? And it is true, you know. I didn't know I was destined to be a singer of renown for the Broadcasting Corporation. I suppose it all started when I won a prize. I was aged 7 on the beach at Broadstairs. And it was a contest at Uncle Mac's. And I stood up and I sang, I remember the song to this day. It went, Constantinople, C-O-N-S-T-A-N-T-I-N-O-P-L-E, Constantinople, it's as easy to sing as saying ABC. I was an ABCdarian even then. And it was strange that I won it because it's not an easy song to sing, although the lyric says so, when you've got about a quarter of a pound of Uncle William's toffee in your mouth at the time, which I couldn't get rid of because I'd started eating it. And Uncle William's toffee you tapped with a hammer, and it came out triangular, and I sang, spraying the audience with raspberry-flavoured toffee. Much more flavoursome in those days. The only reason I won, I think, looking back, was there were only 2 entrants. There was I and a small girl who was even younger than I was, and as she sobbed bitterly, she didn't get anywhere, and I won the prize. And then the producers of my Word suddenly decided to start this musical show, My Music, and they were really after capturing Dennis's voice, of course, which I mean, my voice could be described as a light domestic baritone with vegetable connections. But Dennis, on the other hand, was star material because the profession reckoned that he sounded like a combination of Whispering Jack Smith, Nellie Wallace, and a seagull with its foot caught. And because Dennis was singing, they asked me to sing too. And of course, you know, I've been singing for the last 17 years, and the letters I've had, they've been absolutely wonderful. I brought them along, actually, 1 or 2 comments. Somebody asked for the name of the producer who finally allowed me to sing on radio. He said, this chap wrote, "Who told you you could sing?" And another chap seemed to think, I don't know why, seemed to think that I was just singing not for money at all, but for sweets. He said, "You can't sing for toffee." and very often people rang, over the years, people rang in asking for the name of the song. One chap here said, "What do you call that noise you made last Tuesday?" And I asked Ian Wallace, who sings, you know, he's a professional singer, what he thought of my voice. And he said, and I remember the words exactly, and I never will forget them. He said, "Frank, I think your voice will be remembered when Caruso's and Gillies have been forgotten, and not before." But what I really like singing are the really emotional songs. Blue heaven and you and I, and sand kissing a sunburnt thigh. The desert song is calling. Or sophisticated songs. Cole Porter, just one of those things. If we'd sawed a bit off the end of it when we started painting the town. Songs of nature. Now is the time when the sparrow starts to sit long and flight. Or the big sentimental ballad that you feel here. Overhead, the moon is beaming, bright as blossom on the tree. Naught could be heard but the song of some bird, filling the air with bird seed. The only thing that worried me slightly, though, nobody noticed it, and you probably didn't notice it, is that I can't remember the words all that well. And one song I did sing was a song I picked up when I was in New Zealand, which was a Maori war chant, which actually didn't have any words. It went, ooh, 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 So if you asked me, looking back on my past triumphs, in which song did I really have full, deep, artistic satisfaction, I would have to say, in me Maui hum.
Thank you, Frank, for broadening the cultural base of this program. Dennis, let's see what you do with All the News Fit to Print.
Well, that was, of course, another of Thora Tidmarsh's doomed ventures, and I told her so. Mrs. Tidmarsh, I said, you will destroy us all. While I entirely support your dedication to the task of transforming Golders Green into the Athens of northwest London, I said, no possible good can come of an attempt to restage the Olympics there. Especially, I went on, if you're serious about having every competitor perform naked. If I may remind you, she said, that is how the races were originally run in ancient Greece, which makes it exactly the kind of noble simplicity I'd like the world to associate with the name of Golders Green. From everyone round that table came a murmur of agreement. Mrs. Tidmarsh, you see, as I've had reason to mention before, is our neighbourhood rich person, an imposing lady whose money has enabled her to have everything lifted except her IQ. But as that amenities committee consists mainly of local shopkeepers craving her custom, whatever she proposes generally gets passed 14 in favour, 1 against, the 1 being me. So, aware of that, and equally aware that Mrs. Tidmarsh still hadn't forgiven me for that misguided prank of introducing 6 live salmon into her jacuzzi, I nevertheless persisted. Do you really believe, I said, do you really believe you can get the world's top athletes to come over to Golders Hill Park and compete in the nude? Can you see the Russians agreeing? I mean, just think of some of their lady discus throwers. As for persuading Daley Thompson or Carl Lewis to discard their sponsored shorts, I don't intend to try, said Mrs. T. Golders Green can provide competitors from within our own international community. At which, for the first time, faint traces of unease appeared on the faces of certain committee members, particularly the 3 Italians who owned the dry cleaners, the young Indian chap from the corner newsagent, and the 2 Chinese gentlemen who run the kosher delicatessen. And in the event, all their fears, their doubts were justified because the Golders Green Nude Olympics turned out to be what I can only describe as a bloodbath. The General Purposes Committee of Golders Green, having categorically refused to let the games take place in any of their open spaces, they were held in a section of Mrs. Tidmarsh's own spacious grounds, an area which, when a reporter from the local newspaper saw the competitors emerge for the grand opening march past in a state of what we all began to call full noodle frontity, he immediately christened the place Nothing to Hide Park. But it was at that point the casualties started. The first being a quite grisly collision between one of the military bandsmen and the naked gymnastic lady marching directly in front of his trombone. From then on, matters simply got more and more painful. I can't think how the ancient Greeks actually managed to perform athletic events while bare. I can only presume that hurdling hadn't been invented yet. And as for what the unprotected human body can do to itself with a pole vault, I can only tell you it's the first time I've ever seen a first aid tent with a house full sign. Probably as bad a moment as any occurred during the men's 5,000-meter relay. I don't think I'll ever forget the unfortunate misunderstanding that arose when it came to handing over the baton. During this particular changeover, one poor fellow got dragged 50 yards. Well, to say that the ranks of Golders Green tradespeople were decimated would be to understate what occurred. In fact, that same local news reporter probably got nearer the truth with what he printed under a photo showing the only two who were left in any condition to take part in the 100 meters, because the caption read, "All the nudes fit to sprint."
Thank you, Dennis. I hope one day Golders Green will put up a statue to you. But I see from the score sheet that Dillis and Frank win this week's major prize, which is, of course, an opportunity to come back in our next programme and do battle with Antonia and Dennis. And until then, goodbye.
In My Word, Michael O'Donnell was in the chair. The questions were compiled by Peter Moore, and the programme was produced for the BBC by Tony Shrine and Pete Atkin. You've been listening to My Word from the BBC, heard each week at this time. This is the WFMT Fine Arts Network.
And now, here's Act One of The Old Ones Are Hard to Kill. It begins with a stethoscope, a blood pressure reading, an electrocardiogram, and an altogether satisfying report on the health of Mrs. Ada Canby.
Well, can't see a thing to complain about, Ada. That little congestion you had last time is all cleared up. All in all, I'd say you're doing fine.
For a woman my age, you mean?
The older the chicken, the tougher it is to kill. That's what my grandmother used to tell me, and she lived to be 98. Speaking of relatives, you see much of Walter.
My grandson? Oh, the usual once-a-year visit. And he always comes up with the same complaint.
What's that?
That I shouldn't be living all alone.
That big house of yours must get pretty lonely sometimes.
Well, the truth is, Dr. George, I'm not alone there.
You're not?
I decided to take in the boarder last month.
Really?
I haven't written Walter about it. I'm sure he'd object to my taking in a stranger, but there's really nothing wrong with Mr. Paulson, except his health, maybe.
His health? What's wrong with him?
Oh, the poor man's had a terrible cold for the past 2 weeks. Won't let me do a thing for him, though.
Well, where did you meet this Mr. Paulson?
He answered the ad I ran. He's just back from South America. Been living in Brazil for years. He's a very nice gentleman, really. He keeps himself and tends his birds. He has the loveliest blue parakeets. You can hear them chirping all over the house. Oh, it's the friendliest sound.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with what you're doing, Ada. Just make sure you don't go and catch the man's cold.
Well, there's not much chance of that. The poor man hardly ever leaves his room. Well, how much do I owe you?
I'll send you the bill.
I'm sure you'll forget all about it. Promise me you'll send it.
Are you all right?
Yes, Mrs. Canby. I'm all right.
That cough sounds worse than ever to me. Why don't you let me fix you a little hot milk and honey?
No, thank you, Mrs. Canby. Thanks very much. I'm going to try to get some sleep.
Well, all right, if you say so. I guess it's time I was in bed myself. Oh, my, listen to that poor man. I wonder if he keeps his birds awake, too.
Mrs. Canby, please.
For heaven's sake, is he calling me?
Mrs. Canby!
He is calling me. I'm coming, Mr. Paulson. Oh, no. Where are those darn slippers? I'll be right there. What is it, Mr. Paulson? What's the matter?
Mrs. Canby.
Mr. Paulson, just look at you. Why didn't you tell me you were so sick? I would have called a doctor.
No, too late now. Too late.
I know a very good doctor. I saw him only this afternoon. I'll go and call him right now.
No, please, listen to me.
Well, I've got to get help for you, Mr. Paulson.
I'm dying. Confession.
Well, do you want a priest? Is that what you want?
Richardson murdered 10 years ago.
What?
Murder. I did it. I killed him for money. I was paid. Did you hear me?
Oh, Lord. Mr. Paulson, do you know what you're saying?
Do you understand me? Lindell is innocent. I killed Richardson, not Lindell.
Well, let me get help. You can tell them yourself, Mr. Paulson, and the police and the doctor.
You tell them, please. Tell them to free Lindell. He's innocent. Tell them I'm the one who killed Richardson 10 years ago.
Oh, I don't know anything about such things, and I don't want to.
I did it. I killed Richardson. I did it.
I don't want to hear it. Please don't tell me. Please. Mr. Paulson, Mr. Paulson? Oh, dear God, I think he's gone. Listen to those poor little birdies. I suppose they miss poor Mr. Paulson. I'll lay them in his room. Well, let's see about this letter now. Dear Walter, I hope you don't mind my turning to you for advice, but I really don't know what to do. It's been 3 days since my boarder, Mr. Paulson, passed away, and I still haven't told the police what the man said to me. I just can't bring myself to get mixed up in anything like this. Dear, what's the use of writing Walter? He'll probably think I've dreamed it all up. No, I'll just forget it. How do you forget such a thing? Those names, I keep hearing them. Richardson, Lindell. Lindell is innocent. Oh, dear God, what if it's all true? If Mr. Paulson actually murdered this Richardson and Lindell is innocent? Only, well, who are they? I wonder if a telephone book, well, why not? Let's see. Richard, all right. C-H-A-R-S. Yes, here it is. Oh, Lord, there's dozens of them. Well, I'll try Lindell. That wouldn't be as common, I don't suppose. Yes, here it is. There's only about half a dozen, then. C-L-D-E-L-L. Oh, my heavens. Lindell and Richardson. Both names together. Lindell and Richardson Investments. 9 Concourse 4153132. I wonder if... Well, maybe it's the only way to be sure. Hello? May I speak to Mr. Lindell? He isn't? Well, then what about Mr. Richardson? Oh, I see. Well, is there someone there I can speak to? Yes, please. Thank you.
Hello. This is Mr. Chelton. May I be of service?
Well, maybe you can. I want to know about your Mr. Richardson, about when he died. I think I did business with him once, a long time ago.
Well, it's 10 years, madam, just about. But if you're interested in investment advice...
Well, I'll think about it. Thank you very much. 10 years. Well, it could be a coincidence. I guess it all depends on how he died.
Come in. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Well, now, how can we be of help to you?
Well, I didn't come here to get help, Mr. Shelton. I came to help you, as a matter of fact. Or rather, somebody you know.
Who would that be?
Mr. John Lindell, the man who was supposed to have murdered Mr. Richardson.
I'm afraid I'm not following you.
Well, it took me all week to find out what happened to those two men, and finally I found the story in the old newspaper room down at the library about Mr. Lindell being indicted for killing his partner. But I'm sure you know the whole story a lot better than I do.
Well, of course I know the story, but that was quite a long time ago, Mrs. Canby.
10 years doesn't seem so long when you're my age. Anyway, the point is that I can help your Mr. Lindell, only I can't do it alone.
Did you know John Lindell?
No, I didn't. Nor Mr. Richardson, for that matter. The man I knew was named Paulson.
Who?
I rented a room to Mr. Paulson, and he died about 8 days ago of pneumonia. I was there when it happened.
Oh, that's unfortunate, but...
Before he died, Mr. Paulson told me something about Mr. Richardson's murder. He said Mr. Lindell hadn't been responsible, that he, Mr. Paulson, had committed it. For money.
Oh, Mrs. Canby, listen to me.
It was this man Lindell that bothered him. The fact that he was in prison for something he didn't do. I thought I should tell you this, Mr. Shelton, because you knew both of these gentlemen. It said so in the newspaper.
Mrs. Canby, my dear woman.
What?
I don't know what silly story you heard, but it's completely wrong. There wasn't any question about what happened. This boarder of yours, whatever his name is, merely had an obsession.
Well, just the same, I thought you could follow through on this business. Yeah. Tell the police. Because if it is true, Mr. Lindell should be freed.
On evidence like that?
Well, I don't know anything about evidence. I'm just telling you what I heard. Well, never mind. I suppose I should have told the police myself.
Oh, wait, Mrs. Canby. Let me put your mind at rest. John Lindell is no longer in prison.
He isn't?
He's dead, Mrs. Canby. He's been dead for the last 3 years.
Oh.
He wasn't a young man when all this happened, when he accused his partner, Fred Richardson, of defrauding him and shot him dead.
He died? In prison?
Even if all you say is true, that this man was Richardson's murderer, you can't help John Lindell any longer. He's beyond that.
But his name, don't you want to clear his name?
Have you any proof? Any living witness?
Just myself.
Forget it, Mrs. Canby. That's my advice to you. The old wound is healed. Don't reopen it.
Oh, well, it troubles me so. I haven't thought of anything else since it happened. Perhaps if I saw a minister, if I had some advice from a man of God.
Mrs. Canby, now you said something. Now you've shown me the way. That's where our answer lies, dear woman, in prayer. Mm-hmm. In the forgiveness of our dear Lord. Will you pray with me, Mrs. Canby?
Pray? Here?
Why not? God is everywhere. Please, join me. Dear Lord, tell us what to do. Give us your divine guidance. Show us the path to righteousness.
Mr. Shelton,
Help us, O Lord. Help us to understand. Teach us to forgive the sins of others and to forget them. To forget. I feel much better now, Mrs. Canby. Do you?
I'm not sure.
Let us turn this matter over to God, Mrs. Canby. Not to the police, but to the Lord. It's in his hands now. Don't you agree?
Well, in a way, that's true. Since they're dead now. All of them. Yes?
Mrs. Canby?
Yes?
My name's Stuart Winfield, Mrs. Canby. I understand you have a room for rent?
Yes, yes, I do.
Well, I'm new in town. I just arrived from Philadelphia. I've been staying at a hotel, but I'd like something homier.
Well, the room I have is $35 a week. I can't offer you any meals, but you can use the kitchen all you want.
Well, that sounds good to me.
Would you like to see the room?
Yes, ma'am, I sure would.
Well, come on in then.
Thank you.
By the way, how did you know I had a room for rent? I was going to place an ad this weekend.
Oh, I guess someone at the hotel mentioned it. I forget just who. Say, this is a real fine old house, Mrs. Canby.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that I'm going to like this place. Just fine.
And so Mrs. Canby has a new boarder. He's a very personable young man with a great deal more charm than old Mr. Paulson had. Perhaps in a little while, Mrs. Canby will be able to forget her former boarder and the shocking confession he made on his deathbed. I'll be back shortly with Act 2.
I want
Stu Winfield took no time at all to make himself at home in Ada Canby's big old house. He loved everything about his room. The fine old four-poster bed, the crazy quilt that Ada herself had sewn up 40 years ago, the lace curtains on the window. He even loved Mr. Paulson's blue parakeets. But what he really seemed to like best was Mrs. Canby herself.
Just take me 2 minutes to get these clean sheets on the bed, Mr.
Here, let me give you a hand.
No, I can manage. I've been making this bed for almost 50 years.
50? You've lived in this house that long?
Moved in here when I got married back in 1919. My husband David bought it for us. Our only son Ralph was born in it.
And you've lost them both?
Yes, they're both dead, but I haven't lost them.
Oh, yes, I understand, Mrs. Canby. I guess I feel that way about my mom.
Your mother's dead?
Yes, she died when I was 2.
Oh. Listen, Mr. Winfield, are you sure you want these birds in your room? I could take them to the parlor if you want.
No, I think they're great. I think everything's great about this house. But there is something you can do for me.
What's that?
Would you mind not calling me Mr. Winfield?
Oh?
That's what they call my father. My name's Stuart.
Well, all right, Stuart. Dear Walter, I think it's about time I told you that I have a boarder in the house. Mr. Winfield is the nicest young man you could want to meet. He's a great deal friendlier than my first gentleman, Mr. Paulson, and he seems to like nothing better than to sit around evenings and talk. We talk about his home and his parents and his plans for the future. I think the poor boy misses his home and family, and I'm sort of a substitute for all that.
You know, it isn't really fair, Mrs. Canby. You said I had kitchen privileges, but that doesn't mean you have to cook for me.
Well, it's a pleasure, Stuart. I haven't had anyone to cook for in years.
You're kidding. You mean to say you cook this good without practice?
Oh, you're just being nice. I'm sure that stew is just plain ordinary.
It's terrific, no kidding. It tastes like, well, it tastes like home, if you know what I mean.
It depends on whose home you mean.
Well, my mom cooks stews like this. That's what I meant.
Your mom? What? But She died when you were only 2.
Oh, well, I guess I didn't mean my mom exactly. I was thinking of my Aunt Martha. I mean, she's the one who sort of took over the cooking and stuff after my mother died. And my father's sister, you know?
I see. Well, that was lucky that you had someone to take her place.
Yeah, that's right. Excuse me.
My, Stuart, you're not coming down with anything, are you?
No, I'm fine. Just a little case of the sniffles.
Listen, if your room isn't warm enough, I have an extra book.
No, the room's just fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh, you be sure now. I know I felt a little guilty about poor Mr. Paulson when he got sick. Maybe I didn't take good enough care of him.
Paulson?
Mm-hmm.
Was that your former boarder, the bird lover?
Yes, that was his name, the poor man.
Tell me about him.
Well, I don't really know that much about him. He lived here less than 2 months.
Well, what sort of a guy was he?
Well, very quiet. He kept to himself.
Did you say he was from South America?
I don't remember if I did or not.
Well, you must have said it.
Yes, of course. He was American, but he'd been living in Brazil. I don't know why exactly. Although, come to think of it, maybe I do.
What do you mean?
Well, it just occurred to me that Brazil might be just the place for someone who came into a lot of money and wanted to leave the country.
I don't understand. Is that
I really think you are getting a cold, Stuart. I'm getting that blanket out this minute.
Now, wait, Mrs. Candy. I'd rather hear about...
Never mind. I don't want to take any chances. I'll be right back.
Yes, Mrs. Candy. Don't take any chances.
Stuart?
Yes? Come in.
I brought you a tray, Stuart.
Oh. No, you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have gone to all that trouble, Mrs. Candy.
Wasn't the least bit of trouble. Besides, you've got to have some supper. Feed a cold and starve a fever. That's what
I mean, I was going to come out to the kitchen and get myself a sandwich or something. You didn't have to bring it to me. Oh, look at that. Is that roast chicken?
Well, that's what it's supposed to be. I hope it tastes all right.
Noodle soup with dumplings. Mrs. Candy, you're spoiling me rotten. Do you know that?
Yeah, I just thought it'd be a good idea if you stayed in bed and took it easy. You weren't planning to go out tonight, were you?
No, I was just going to stay in and read for a while. Maybe watch television.
Oh, that's good. Here, I'll just set this tray down.
Oh, the service here is just too good. Oh, we never finished our talk the other day about that boarder of yours, Mr. Paulson.
Well, there's not much to say about him, really.
Well, you said something about his living in South America. You said you thought you understood why he was living there. Sounded real interesting.
Well, the truth is, Stuart, there is something to tell about Mr. Paulson. Maybe you can help me feel better about it all.
About what?
I'm not going to tell you if you don't eat.
All right, Mrs. Canby, I'll eat.
Well, it happened just about 3 weeks ago.
You know something, Mrs. Candy? That's about the best roast chicken I've had in years.
I'm sure I spoiled your appetite with all my chatter.
No, that was a really interesting story.
But what do you think of it all, Stuart? No, the killer is the man who hired Mr. Paulson. Don't you see? Is it right that he should get away with it?
Now, wait a minute. You're jumping to conclusions.
No, I'm not. Mr. Paulson told me that he was hired to do this thing.
Well, maybe he was hired by Lindell. Maybe Lindell hired him, and then Paulson got cold feet, and Lindell did the shooting himself.
No, I'm sure that isn't true. You see, I read the newspaper article all about it.
Well, you really were thorough about this, weren't you, Mrs. Candy?
You poor man. That cold's gone to your chest now, hasn't it?
No, I'm all right. Stop worrying about me. Let's talk about this other problem of yours.
Well, maybe I'm making it more of a problem than it should be. Maybe if I just told the police everything, I could forget it once and for all.
No, I really couldn't advise that, Mrs. Canby.
Well, it said in the newspaper story that the two men were partners in that investment firm. And Mr. Lindell thought that his partner Richardson was cheating, taking money out of the firm, and that's why he's supposed to have shot him.
Wasn't there a witness to the shooting?
Why, yes, I think there was. Come to think of it, it was Mr. Shelton. That's right.
Well, doesn't that wrap it up for you?
Well, it would if it wasn't for Mr. Paulson.
Listen, Mrs. Canby, you know how much I like you. Why, in just a few days, you're more like family to me than my Aunt Martha ever was.
Well, it's nice of you to say, Stuart.
And that's why I want you to listen to me about this. That's why I want you to forget about this whole foolish thing. And
listen to you. You sound awful, Stuart. Just terrible.
No, I'm all right.
No, you're not all right. I'm going to get you some cough medicine right this minute.
Mr. Shelton, it's me, Winfield.
Well, what's happening?
I think I better stick around for a few more days, Mr. Shelton. The old lady's beginning to get fidgety, if you know what I mean.
Well, something tells me that Stuart Winfield isn't such a nice young man after all. Could it be that he wasn't telling Mrs. Canby the truth about his dear mother and his Aunt Martha? Could he have not told her the truth about his plans for the future? Of course, the real issue is, what sort of plan does he have for Ada Canby's future? I'll be back shortly with Act 3. If you want to watch... Mrs. Canby. She isn't sleeping well tonight. But of course, Mrs. Canby has good reasons for insomnia. Her thoughts are whirling. Her boarder Stuart was right. She doesn't want the bother of going to the police. And she firmly believes in the old adage, if you don't trouble trouble, trouble won't trouble you. But still...
Oh, my. I'm just never going to get to sleep tonight. Poor Stuart. He's still coughing. I'm sure that room is just too drafty. I never should have let any boarders in until I got the windows fixed. Oh, dear. That poor boy. I'll never forget the terrible night Mr. Paulson was coughing so badly. Huh? And the way he looked, all gray and shrunken. If only I knew he was so sick. No, if only he'd never even come to this house.
Mrs. Canby, I killed Richardson. I did it.
Do I ever forget the sound of that man's voice?
Lindell is innocent. Lindell is innocent.
That poor man. All the years he spent in jail for something he didn't do.
Let sleeping dogs lie, Mrs. Canby. My Aunt Martha always said, let sleeping dogs lie.
If only I could get some sleep.
Let us turn this matter over to God, Mrs. Canby. Not to the police. Not to the police. Not to the police.
What a strange man he is, Mr. Shelton. The way he talked about God, praying at his desk. Of course, God is everywhere, but his desk.
I killed Richardson. I murdered him for money. I was paid.
Paid? Someone had to pay him. Mr. Paulson wasn't the only guilty one. Someone else was, too. Oh, dear Lord. Mr. Shelton. What did that newspaper article say? The chief witness against Mr. Lindell was Arnold Shelton. But how could he be a witness to something that never happened? How could he be? I'll have to tell someone. I'll have to talk to someone. Yes, I'll tell Stuart about it. In the morning. Stuart, are you awake?
Yes, I'm up, Mrs. Canby. Come in. Oh, no. Now, don't tell me I'm getting breakfast in bed, too.
Well, I know you had a terrible night last night, Stuart. You were coughing much worse than ever. I guess that medicine wasn't very good.
Sorry I kept you awake, Mrs. Canby.
No, that wasn't your fault. No. Something else kept me up.
What was that?
Oh, my mind, I guess. Maybe I should say my conscience.
Oh, that sounds serious.
But it is something serious, Stuart. Well, I might have let a man get away with murder. No, it's even worse than that. He did something worse than murder.
You're talking about Paulson again.
No, I'm talking about the man who hired Mr. Paulson. He didn't just have that man Richardson shot. He let an innocent person go to jail and die there. Now, that's like committing 2 murders, if you ask me. I have to tell you something that occurred to me last night.
Sure, go ahead.
Well, it's about Mr. Shelton. Mr. Arnold Shelton.
Yeah? Go on. I'm listening.
Stuart, I wonder if maybe the reason Mr. Shelton was so upset with me, the reason he didn't want me to go to the police, was because he was afraid.
Explain what you mean.
Well, what I mean is maybe Mr. Shelton had good reason, besides the one he told me. He was working for both Mr. Richardson and Mr. Lundell at the time of the murder.
Well, so what?
Well, he was also the chief witness at the trial. A witness for the prosecution.
But he saw the shooting, didn't he?
But that's just the point. He saw Mr. Lindell shoot Mr. Richardson.
Well, that's not what you told me last time. I mean that he was an eyewitness.
No, that's right. He didn't actually see the shooting. He was miles away when it happened. I don't quite remember the details.
There was something about a phone call, maybe?
Yes, that's what it was. He claimed that Mr. Richardson was talking to him on the phone when Mr. Lindell showed up at his apartment. He said that Richardson cried out something about Lindell having a gun.
And then he heard the shot.
But how could that have happened if the gun was fired by Mr. Paulson?
If, Mrs. Canby, that's the big little word, isn't it? If.
But don't you see what I'm saying, Stuart? Arnold Shelton had the most to gain.
Gain? From what?
From both these men leaving the firm. That'll leave the whole thing to him. All those customers, all the investments he handles, all the commissions, or whatever they call it.
Are you accusing this guy Shelton of being the killer?
Yes. It's the only answer, Stuart.
Well, look, if that was the case, the police would have figured it out.
But they didn't. There was nothing in the stories I read that pointed to any suspicion at Mr. Shelton. I don't suppose it even occurred to them. And now, the company is all his.
Well, you don't call that evidence, do you?
Well, then why didn't he let me go to the police? Why did he try so hard to talk me out of it? That man was praying to it. He was taking the name of the Lord. Oh, I I'm sorry, Stuart. I'm so sorry. I won't bother you anymore. I know what I have to do anyway.
Mrs. Candy.
I won't be gone long, Stuart.
No, wait.
But the minute I get back, I'm going to call Dr. George and ask him to come over. You're sick.
Never mind the doctor. You're calling the police.
No, I won't call them. You're right. I don't want them tracking mud in my parlor. I'm going down to the station house and talk to them. I'll get dressed now and go straight there.
Please think about what you're doing.
I'll tell them what I know, and they can do the rest. Now, you try to eat something, Stuart. Please.
Mrs. Candy. Sheldon?
What is this, Winfield? I told you not to call me at the office.
It's an emergency.
You sound terrible. What's the matter with you?
I'm sick. Only you're going to be a lot sicker.
What are you talking about?
The old lady. I can't stop her. She's decided to talk.
What?
She figured it out. Figured out exactly what you did, Sheldon, and how you did it.
You fool. You've got to stop her. Do you hear me?
That wasn't part of the deal, Sheldon.
It's all of the deal now.
The price didn't include anything like that.
The price just doubled. Old ladies are always having accidents. Make her have one. Make her have one now, Winfield.
All right. She's gonna have a fall down the cellar steps. Right now. I gotta get my robe on and my slippers. I gotta hurry.
Stuart? Is that you?
Open up, Mrs. Candy.
Stuart Winfield, what are you doing out of bed? Now, you go right back there this second.
I gotta talk to you, Mrs. Candy, before you go to the police.
Just listen to you. You're all winded. You can hardly talk, Stuart. Now, go back to bed before you catch pneumonia, too.
Now, don't go, Mrs. Candy. It would be better if you never went to the police. Better for you. Better for me.
For you? I don't understand.
Well, then I wouldn't have to hurt you, Mrs. Candy. That's what I mean. I wouldn't have to do anything bad to you.
Stuart, what in the world are you talking about?
Come on, old lady.
Stuart!
You're smart, all right. You really think things through. So now, think a little harder.
You knew? Stuart, you knew about Mr. Polk?
That's right.
That's how you knew my room was so rent, because Mr. Shelton told you.
Now you're getting there, Mrs. Candy.
And that's why you rented it. That's why you were sent here.
Just to watch you, Mrs. Candy. Just to see that you stayed sensible.
Mr. Shelton did.
I was hoping you'd never change your mind about calling the police. I didn't want this part of it. This isn't the part I like.
Let me go,
Just relax, Mrs. Candy. Just take it easy.
Please,
Why, you're as light as a feather, Mrs. Candy. Just like my Aunt Martha would have been if I had an Aunt Martha.
Please, let me down. Please.
We've got a date now, Mrs. Candy.
Let me go. Let me go.
Don't put up such a fight, Mrs. Candy. I'm sick, remember? Just shut your eyes. Please, shut your eyes and don't look down.
Oh, God. Stuart, those stairs.
Shut your eyes, old lady. They'll all be over. It's all right now, Ada. Just be glad that it wasn't you at the bottom of those stairs.
Will he be all right, Dr. George?
Now, what do you want to worry about that man for? Truth is, his injuries don't amount to very much. A couple of broken ribs seem to be the worst of it. But he'll be a patient for some time before they can put him in prison where he belongs. Him and his friend. What was that man's name again?
You mean Mr. Chelham? Have they arrested him?
Yeah. That's what the police detective said.
I don't understand. Stewart's injuries aren't serious.
It's not the fall that made Winfield so sick. His case was diagnosed as simple pneumonia at first. And then I remembered about your first boarder. Nelson, was it?
No, Folsom.
Yes, Folsom.
But he had pneumonia, too. He died of it. Oh, is pneumonia contagious?
Yes, it is, but this disease was even more contagious. It's a pneumonia caused by a disease called psittacosis, better known as parrot fever. You get it from sick birds, like the parakeets in your spare room.
Oh, no. Mr. Paulson's bird.
Sorry, Ada, but they had to be taken out and destroyed.
Oh, what a shame.
There's one reason I feel sorry for them. They saved your life. Made Mr. Winfield too weak even to throw a little old lady down a flight of steps.
Those poor little creatures.
Yeah, but you can be grateful they didn't make you sick, too. Parrot fever is so contagious that no more than one person in 1,000 could be exposed to it and escape infection. It was pretty darn close to a miracle, Ada.
They're hard to kill, Doctor. Remember? The old ones are hard to kill.
They say that people are living longer than ever before. And when we look at Ada Canby, we can understand why. She's a tough old lady. So tough she could withstand the threats of man, beasts, and bird. So let that be a warning to all those who think that our senior citizens are easy prey for crime. Watch out. They may turn the tables on you. Or the stairs. I'll be back shortly. We have one final comment for you on behalf of Ada Canby and old people everywhere. There's a saying, there's no fool like an old fool. But it's also true that there's no wisdom and strength like old wisdom and strength. There. Does that make you feel better about your next birthday? Our cast included Agnes Moorehead, Leon Janney, and Roger DeKoven. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time.
As always, thank you for joining us this Sunday evening for Sunday Night with Old Time Radio. Join us again next week for our Halloween broadcast. Chills, thrills, and terror, horror, you name it, we've got it. See you then, and until then, sweet dreams. This is a production of Lovato Studios, Sao Paulo, Brazil.